Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Kihei, Hawaii, a man is called a raving maniacal animal, and for good reason, considering that his murders were about as gruesome as could be imagined. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I think I surprised Jimmie with that. I caught him off guard or something. He's like, oh, shit, I have to introduce myself. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are very, very excited today, mainly because if you're just listening to this when it comes out on Thursday or even Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, the virtual live show is happening, and we are so excited. You can get your tickets, and you can buy the show all weekend for 72 hours after Thursday, or if you buy it for Thursday, you can watch it for 72 hours after that. Do whatever you want. Watch it 10 times. Watch it once. Do whatever you want with it.
It's up to you.
Shut up and give me murder.com is where you get those tickets, or momenthouse.com/smalltownmurder. We're super excited. We have a crazy case all laid out, and it is good stuff. So we can't wait to show you all the visuals, and we'll be having a good time. Hang out with us. It's going to be fun. We're very, very excited. So thank you for that. Also, this week, we have such good stuff going on Patreon. My goodness, you cannot even imagine, Jimmy. We have, well, you can because you were there when we made them. But yeah, such good stuff. Anybody, by the way, $5 or above, patreon.com/crime and sports. You're going to get everything that we put out for any bonus material for either show. Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder. And if you're not listening to Crime and Sports, check it out. This week is a perfect example. Crazy story, very little sports. Check it out. So anyway, for Crime and Sports episode, we're going to do something that has very little to do with the actual sports, but a lot to do with conning and swindling. It's a guy named Ron Weaver, who was a college football player who was mediocre, played out his time. And then when he was 30, many years later, he goes, maybe I'll change my identity and do that again.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think now I can push around 18-year-olds a little better, and he does, shockingly enough. So this guy, it's a crazy tale once he gets caught and it all unravels. And then for Small Town Murders, we had, I think it's one of my favorite ones we ever did, the Deadwood newspaper articles from the first couple years that Deadwood, South Dakota existed. And want to know what it is. Want to know what it's like to live in a literally lawless Old West prospecting town? There it is. We're going to tell you all about it. Tons of mayhem and all of that. So you can get all that. Patreon.com/crime and sports, and you'll get a shout out. Jimmy will mispronounce your name terribly while trying his hardest to get it right.
I will work so hard.
He'll mess it up, though. He really will. Or if you just want to get your shout out over, you can do that over at PayPal using your email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That's our email address, not yours. I just said using your email address. No, ours.
Use your email address.
Otherwise, you'll be giving yourself money, and it'll be kind of pointless. So anyway, that's a disclaimer. This is a comedy show. We are comedians. The horrible, horrible murders happen. What we do, they will happen, and we're going to make jokes, but we make jokes around the gross parts. That's kind of how we do it here. There's nothing funny about someone's head being cut off. I don't know how to make jokes about that, but I do know how to make, and we do know how to make jokes, though, about someone thinking, I bet I can get away with cutting someone's head off. We can make jokes about that person. But what we go out of our way not to do is we try not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's how that works. So if that sounds good to you, we're going to have a good time with a really, really terrible incident that happened in the world. And if you think true crime and comedy should never, ever go together, that might not be for you, but it might be for you. That's the thing. You should give it a shot.
You don't know.
Don't judge a book by its comedic cover. The stories are real and they're crazy. So if that sounds good to you, I think it's time to sit back, Jimmy, clear the lungs, and shout, shut up.
Shut up and give me murder.
Let's do this, Jimmy. Let's go on a trip. We're going on a nice trip this time. Yeah, we are. Oh, this is going to be great. We've been all over the U.S. We're in Indiana last week.
Continental shit.
It's winter. We're in Indiana. This week, no. Kihei, Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to the islands. We needed it.
Lick-a-lick-a-maca, James.
We needed to get out of the winter, and we're doing it right here. It's beautiful. This is Kihei, Hawaii. It's on the south side of the island of Maui. Beautiful.
Oh, that's the good one.
I guess. Let me read the island. There's multiple islands, and there's Hawaii, which is the big island, and then there's Maui, and there's Oahu, Kauai, Malaki, Lanai, what the fuck? I don't know how to pronounce that. There's a few more. I don't know. There's the last two have a grand total of 170 people on it.
Okay.
One I can't pronounce was called the Forbidden Isle, and one's called the Target Isle, which I assume that means the Air Force or Navy or Army blew a lot of shit up there. So.
Or you have to wear khaki pants and a red shirt there.
Either one. So that's possible. Just a giant target. That's all it is.
Super target. That's
How many? A lot of self-checkouts here. Wow. That's a lot. So about 145,000 people on the island of Maui. So on the whole island here. It is all of this. You're about a half hour, an hour away from everywhere in Hawaii. So it's ridiculous to say from here to there. Except it is 42 minutes to Haiku, Hawaii, which was our last Hawaii episode. That was back Jimmie, episode 56.
17 years ago.
February 7th, 2018.
Holy shit.
So, 4
everything
years
was on
ago.
the rails. The world was looking bright.
It wasn't looking bright. It was better than now, but it wasn't great.
Yeah,
I mean,
in comparison, it
wasn't on
times ever.
fire. People weren't crazy. I didn't have to threaten to beat up men in the bank like I did yesterday. I walked into a bank yesterday to a man screaming at two old women. They were at least in their mid to late 70s working at Chase, yelling at them in full. I said, "Oh, we're fucking yelling at old ladies at the bank now? Get the fuck out of here!" And this guy freaked out, because no one was around. It was just him and these two old ladies, and he was having a field day. And I walked in, he freaked out and scurried out.
He's just the bully.
Yeah, and this old lady, she looked like she was going to fucking cry. I was like, "What happened? What's going on?" I said, "What is happening in this world? You don't yell at old ladies at the bank. A little fucking decorum. This is where all the money is. Can we all be cool?" Be cool in this building.
Get the fuck out.
Be cool in this building. This is hey, we're all putting our money in here. You can't start acting a fool. This is like an airplane. We're all in this together. Don't mess it up.
Yeah. Right.
So anyway, this is in Maui County on the island of Maui. Area code 808. Motto here, it's Hawaii. We don't need a fucking motto. There you go. Come here.
Stay a while. You'll like it.
Ever heard of Maui? Exactly. There you go.
You like beaches? We're surrounded by it.
We are a beach. That's what we are. A beach and a mountain. That's all we are in this
we're
whole...
a beach. We got turtles and blue fucking water. Come have a drink.
Very little history here. There's a lot of history, but we're going to go over quickly because the murder is insane this week, so we have to get to that here. So apparently there was a big height of the whaling era. This was a major center of whaling. Oh, no. In one season, over 400 ships visited, with up to 100 anchored at one time in Lahaina roads. The ships would stay for weeks rather than days, and they would, because it's Hawaii, so they wanted to be there. It's not like they're off the coast of Massachusetts or something. So they're in Hawaii, so they would stay there, drink, pillage, all that sort of thing.
Shit,
yeah. Well, I mean, there was also a lot of prostitution on the island because there was a lot of whaling guys. And there's a bunch of missionaries in there.
Yeah.
And it's not like Tampa,
to fix
though.
It all.
At least there's not roosters running around while this is happening.
It's Tampa without the roosters. And everything else that is Tampa.
So then once they had petroleum replaces whale oil as our fuel, then that's that for whaling, and then that's over there. So the Hawaii was the 50th state in 1959. It was annexed in 1898, and they made a territory in 1900. And obviously Hawaii, very big part of the Pacific theater of World War II, because, Japan and the United States are really fucking far, and Hawaii is a pretty good stop-off point in between them. So
it's not halfway, but it's
no, but it's
once you get there and you go, oh my God, there's still 6 hours till we get to America.
Closer than San Diego. That's one of those. So at the peak in 1943 and 44, there was more than 100,000 soldiers here. Based here. Absolutely. The beaches were used as practice landings to train marine demolition and sabotage and all that sort of thing here. So I found some reviews of this town. I don't know how you can complain. If you complain, if you live here and you
perfectionist motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine you're living in West Virginia somewhere and it's cold right now, or anywhere. It's cold in New York right here where we're sitting. If we're sitting here cold and all this, and we're reading somebody go, I don't know, and being nitpicky about Maui, I'm really not going to be happy to hear that. So,
how much food have you sent back? You complaining ass son of a bitch.
How many Yelp reviews do you have in your account? Open up your app right now. I want to see how many reviews. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. Shit you haven't even been to. You just drove
you got
by.
Badges on Yelp, you bastard.
It says it looked dirty from the outside. That's the only 1 star.
Did not stop.
Did not stop. So this is for Maui County, so it's the whole island. 5 stars. I love it. Everybody that visits would tell you how beautiful it is, the flowing oceans to the native people. It's just been by far a blessing to have grown up on the island of Maui.
Fuck you.
This person's so happy. It gets worse, dude. It turns into a postcard or like a Disney movie here.
Holy shit.
I believe this was said by on Lilo and Stitch somewhere. The island just radiates the aloha spirit, and that's why I have chosen to stay here around my ohana and still pursue my dreams of being an entrepreneur and one day be the owner of a successful business. Please help me pursue my passions and do what I love. How are we supposed to respond? It's a review. It's a review on a website that gives town information. How am I supposed to there's no way to activate this. I can't. I'd love to. Where do I go?
That's the 2020 version of a message in a bottle.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, please help me. Where are you? I can't. I'm knocking on the screen and she's not in there. Hello?
Just throw $12 in a bottle and throw it in the ocean. It'll get here.
Yeah, hello? Are you there? 4 stars. I like that most of the people are good-spirited and help each other out. I like that there's not really any huge crimes committed. What I would change is the cost of living. It is almost unaffordable. Yeah, it's paradise. If it was cheap,
How dare you?
If it was cheap, it'd be so crowded you'd be pushed into the fucking ocean. Do you understand that? People complain about that.
Fucking idea how many people are on this other part? Because if we all came there, it's unlivable.
You hear people complaining, like you'll hear people complaining like that we know live in LA and they're like, you can't move like anywhere good, this place, that place. You're like, yeah, it's on the ocean. That's why. Right. You can't have a house overlooking the ocean for cheap. If you could, no one would. It would be overrun more than it is. Who's not going there?
It's a beach LA's in a fucking desert. You have a beach in the desert.
Yeah.
You're going to have mass traffic.
That's the expensive part. That's why there's a Riverside.
And there's water? Fuck yes.
That's why Riverside exists. Right. Like, I can't afford to live on the beach either. But you know what? I understand. It's a beach. Shit, it sounds good.
I can't believe how many people want to live here. You can't believe it?
So weird. So 4 stars for this one here. Quote, Maui has been my home. It is absolute paradise. In my opinion, there is no place that compares to my beautiful home. However, there are several issues that Maui struggles with. Homelessness, drugs, and littering. Okay, if you mention littering as your top 3 problems, that's not a lot of problems.
Yeah, you're crushing it.
So
I saw a Snickers wrapper. This place has really gone to shit.
It's terrible. 2 stars. 2 stars, this one. No, they don't like it at all. Roads are poorly maintained, and when patchwork is done, it washes away with the next rain. The county has poor relations with its people, and the county construction workers can often be caught standing around to the point it's literally used to describe people who are lazy. Also, the price of living has skyrocketed in the last 2 decades. For example, a mansion in Arizona would barely get you a small house in a beat-up suburb. Yeah, because it's the fucking desert. That's why. It's the desert. Have you been? It's not a. Oh my God.
You live in a tropical climate. You literally have
You're like,
our roads get washed out by our tropical rains. Of course they do.
I could get a place in Tucson for so much cheaper. Oh, really?
Do you not know how weather affects things, sir?
You know how much easier Yuma would be to live? Come on. Cheaper. So much cheaper.
Have you heard of Kingman?
Ugh. People in this town, 22,750 here.
Yeah.
So quick through the stats, it's 50-50 male-female. Median age is exactly normal. It's about 37, normal average, I should say. It's about the same 50-50 married. Nothing crazy here. 19% are single with children. So, I mean, there's that to go with. Race of this town, this is the surprising thing. It's 44% white, 1% black, 21% Asian, 2.8 Hawaiian or Pacific Islander.
What?
Yeah,
but that few?
But 19% are 2 races or more, so that's probably mix of. Yeah, I think that's going to be with. Yeah, religion here is not too much here. It's mostly Catholic, actually. I think they got their missionaries there first. Probably, it's what it sounds like. That's what it is. I mean, honestly, any island, it's whoever got there first and set up shop. I mean, the Mormons are like, damn it.
God damn it.
Missed it. 0.0% Jewish. Politics here, it's 66.6% of the people voted Democrat in the last presidential election, 31% Republican, 2.3% independent. Unemployment rate here is high. I don't know if there's enough jobs. I don't know if there's enough room for enough jobs for the people. You know what I mean? So I don't know how that works on an island. Everything is different on an island economically.
All bets are off.
All bets are off.
Everything changes.
Milk is $8 a gallon. The whole shit's a fucking, it's a whole mess here. You're eating Spam because that's what there is. No, it's bad
They
stuff.
love it.
And they love it because that's what there is. So, 12% unemployment here, which is a lot. That's really, it's like, it's almost at 3% in the rest of the country right now. So that's saying something. And median household income is $71,423, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
Very high. But 24% of the jobs here are like accommodations, food service, like hotels, restaurants, tourist shit. The cost of living, 100 is average. Here it's 164. It's a little bit high. And but the high part is the housing. Median home cost $807,800 here.
Holy shit.
That is expensive, almost 3 times the national average. So pretty goddamn expensive. So, I mean, so what? Let's say you've saved some money up. I don't know. You've had a successful run at something and you're going to move here, or you're just going to make it work. You're going to live by the beach. You don't care. You're going there. We have for you the Kihei, Hawaii Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here goes for, expensive as to be expected, $1,929.
Jesus.
That's pretty expensive. It's hard to find anything affordable here. So the most affordable thing you can buy, it's a studio, it's a studio condo, just, one room with a bathroom.
One room and a bathroom. Right.
420 square feet. So like like a
4 easy ups.
Like a DoubleTree, like a room at the DoubleTree. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Not great. The bed is just a Murphy bed that pulls down between the kitchen and the living area.
Oh, no.
So, but it has a beach view. So I think what they're assuming is you're probably not spending a whole lot of time there anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So $349,000.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's expensive, but you are by the beach in Hawaii, so it's not too bad, I guess.
It's a one-person place, so you can't, or a couple at best. You can't have kids in that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. The next one's a cottage. It's a weird cottage, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 490 square feet, and 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. I don't know how you pull that off.
Do it. That's crazy.
It's not even that nice. There's 2 other houses here and a caretaker cottage as well. There's all sorts of houses on the property. It's not very good. $1.2 million for that.
Holy shit.
That's a lot here. Then here's a family house, like a house you'd find in the suburbs somewhere. 4-bedroom, 3 bath, 1,708 square feet. 1986 it was built in. Very average. View of the beach. But that's nice. $1,549,000.
$5 million.
And then quickly, I got to tell you about this one because it's ridiculous. 8-bedroom, 8 bath, 10,464 square feet. It looks like a resort. It's insanity. $29,500,000 for that. A little expensive. A little pricey.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Willie Nelson and the bald guy from True Detective and Cheers, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
They live in Hawaii in something like that, I imagine.
Yeah,
and just
probably.
smoke weed all day.
Oh, that's a great existence. It's not terrible, It's not bad, I got to say.
So that's the bar for success that you have. You have to be a household name to be able to live
This is I don't think they live in a place like this. Is extravagant. Like this
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
it's Willie Nelson and Woody Harrelson, James.
I'm gonna go half of this though, because the houses that are half this size are insanely beautiful there. And they're huge and all that. But 10,460. That's
awesome.
That's like weird.
So bad.
That's some weird CEO house. Like just him and his young wife are there going, we need all of this, Like,
I want to know what the taxes on that shit would be too, because I'm sure the taxes are outrageous, right?
They've got to be. I would assume so. I don't know.
To live in fucking Maui.
Things to do here. It's Maui. Do everything. It's the ocean. Do all this shit.
Things to do. Do Maui, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
Found one particularly interesting thing here. Maui Mermaid Swimming Adventures, just because it sounds very silly. It says, who doesn't want to become a mermaid? I'm in. Right off the bat, you got me hooked.
Do I get those sweet shells?
Now you can learn how to during your visit to Maui. You can learn how to become a mermaid and take professional swimming lessons with professionals who are certified marine naturalists. They said professionals 3 words apart. Professional swimming lessons with professionals. I would hope those go together, yeah. They're all CPR certified. This is dangerous or what? During the lesson, you'll be able to learn about the myths of mermaids, too. What the hell does that have to do with anything?
James, this is dangerous as fuck. They're about to strap both your feet together and throw you in the ocean.
And just have people swimming next to you going, are you okay? Okay, good.
Are you having fun?
Should I rescue you now? No? Okay.
Should I breathe for you?
It's okay. CPR? No? Oxygen? He's pulling the thing out of their mouth, holding it out to you. Don't worry, mermen can also partake in this unique experience. Have an aspiring mermaid who's not quite big enough for our mermaid tales? We also offer mermaid meet and greets. Our mermaid will swim right up to the beach and meet your little one. Wow. Also, our mermaid will share mermaid stories about the myth and mysteries of mermaids across the world, from sailors' tales to mermaid names. One man said he raped a mermaid. Is that going to be your tale? I don't want to hear that tale. It sounds disgusting.
We're going to convince you this bullshit's real.
Jesus Christ. And there's also a Maui pineapple tour.
Of course.
And you can just go. I just love that it says every guest will receive a free airport-ready pineapple to take home with them. A real Hawaii. They just give you
take all the fucking weapons off of it.
It's depointed, and there you go. Now you can take that with you. Crime rate in this town, property crime. This is the first one here. It's about average, not low, not high. Which, I mean, shit, they were making it sound like it was. One person made it sound like it's rampant. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is a little under half the national average. So it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty laid back, man. Like,
how can you be upset here?
And yeah, it's just very laid back. There's not a lot of I don't think there's a lot of road rage. Probably, maybe there is. I don't know. I mean, if you're used to it, it just pisses you off. You're like, you fucking parrot. Look at you. Look at you. You tropical beast. You fucking look at these. Oh God, it's beautiful again. Oh, we're gonna get like a 20-minute tropical shower to cool the day off. Isn't that nice? Great. But you know what I mean? What are you mad about?
A lot of very small cars and scooters on these islands. Like, that's the way these people get around. And that sounds unbelievable to me.
And dangerous also. It's like in Asia too. You see Asian cities. It's all a lot. They say
China. China. That's an Asian city.
It's an Asian city. Like in Vietnam, I know in a lot of these cities, car is useless. You need a motorcycle to weave in and out because the way traffic works. Italy's the same way. Italy, they have these tiny cars because traffic is just go, and then it's cannonball run, and they all just fucking people scramble and
roundabouts up on the sidewalk. It's nuts.
It's nuts. So, speaking of nuts, let's talk about a murder, shall we?
All
Jimmie?
right.
Let's do this. A particularly crazy series of events here. This is buckle up and not for the faint of heart, we'll say, for this one here. Now, let's talk about a guy, first off, a Robert Mark Edwards. We're going to start with here. He's born in 1961. And we're going to catch up with him later on in the 1980s, but let's find out a little bit about him and see what kind of soil did he spring forth from. Let's find out. It's not. He's not from Hawaii, so it wasn't volcanic at all, probably. No. So his mom, her name is Laura, and his father, his name is William. And they were married in 1959. Robert's born in 1961. He's got an older brother who's William Jr. After his dad, and then he's got a younger sister named Elena. So he'll always be close to Elena through the years. So, but that's the family. There's the 5 of them. Not your postcard family. There's not a Norman Rockwell painting by any stretch of the imagination. His father, William, was a pilot in the Army.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Now, I heard conflicting things. That one said it was the Army, and one said it was the Marines. So I don't know which is correct here. I'm not sure. So either way, he served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam.
Yikes.
Yeah, and he comes home like you would imagine if you just served two tours of duty in Vietnam.
He did 2 of them.
Yes, and some war affects people in different ways too. Like you'll see it. Some people, it's a weird formative thing for them that they take good from it, and then some people it really fucks them up. Understandably, So
my uncle who served was very soft and gentle, but like hair trigger, and it was like around safety of his family. He would like snap and you're like. They just asked if we wanted fucking pepper on our food. Calm down.
Yeah, and then other times,
not a bomb.
Yeah, that's what happens, man. So it wasn't that PTSD wasn't treated back then for these guys. It was tough. So he serves 2 tours of duty, and he remains in the service. And so they moved around very frequently as a child, when he's a child. So they end up in California, Florida, Georgia, Puerto Rico. They're all over the place. So there's a lot going on for the family, which. If everything's happy, that you can live with that. People, you can make that fun, Sure. Hey, new adventure, everybody. Like if that's the status quo, what people are used to, fuck it, they're going to be like, yay! If you make it a good thing every time, the kids will think it's great. Except this wasn't that kind of family here. When he's very young Robert, his father would punch him with a closed fist.
Oh boy,
we're talking from toddler age. He'd pop him with a closed fist. This is according to both of his siblings and his mother.
He'd punch a child.
But toddler, just pow right in his soft spot. Just take that and fucking knock his ass to the ground. So Williams, the father here, he also suspected always that Robert wasn't really his child. No reason to suspect that apparently, and he looked like him and everything, but he just wouldn't accept it. Just always had a hint of doubt in his mind. The mother said William first hit young Robert when he was 6 months old, which is fucking diabolical. That's crazy.
Way too.
Way too. You got to wait till they're like 2.5 to start knocking them down. Wait till they can stand up well on their own power, then you knock them down. That really, they're already down. What's the point? Yeah, that's
super young to be punching. 6 months?
6
Kid's
months
not even
old.
Walking.
No, what can a 6-month-old? Are they crying? It's a baby. Figure out what's wrong with it. It's not being vindictive. It's 6 months old. Right. It has no idea how to work that shit. So
it needs food, liquid, or it already evacuated both, or it wants to be held. That's it.
Yeah, it either needs food or liquid, or it's had too much food and liquid. One of the two. Right. That's it. And it's coming out in a liquid, solid, or gas form. Either way.
Right up their neck.
Right up their neck is just the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost all coming out at the same time.
Bingo, bango. Clean it up.
There you go. Either that or bada boom, bada bing. It's coming. So he would beat him almost daily, they said. He was the one who really took the bulk of it, too. His sister will say that the father beat Robert about 5 times as much as the brother. So it's like that much more. Yeah, like it would be like, Monday through Friday he'd beat the shit out of Robert, and then like maybe Saturday afternoon he'd smack William around, but it was definitely a 5-to-1 ratio. That was his full-time job, was beating him. I was Monday through Friday. It's his main gig.
It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It's so terrible. You can't take it any other way because it's disgusting. 5 times more. At least he had a thing. So, wow. He nicknamed, like I said, this is one of these things that if he was a good dad and he was joking, this wouldn't be that bad. This sounds like something my father would do, but in a nice way, like in a joking way and whatever. He nicknamed Robert and his brother, quote, SFB1 and SFB2, which means shit for brains 1 and 2. I'm sorry. I know we're laughing at horrible child abuse, but this is just so outlandishly ridiculous. It's like comic book child. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
And it's such a boomer thing to call a kid.
Shit for brains. Hey, shit for brains number 2. And he'd go, yeah? That was Robert. He's 2 because he's the younger one. So not only are you shit for brains, you're not even your own shit for brains. You're shit for brains too.
Right. You don't even get like, God damn it.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Jesus Christ and goddamn, you're not even that.
You
Shit
got
for
a
brains.
nickname,
He doesn't want
to. It's the same as somebody else's.
He doesn't want to have to remember multiple nicknames.
Right.
The bigger one's number 1, the littler one's number 2. You're both shit for brains. Fucking done. What a dick,
I'm
man.
exhausted. Now I need to punch a kid.
Yeah. Where's that baby? Bring him over here.
Shit for brains.
Where's shit for brains too? Wow. So maybe if you didn't punch him in his brain so much, maybe he would form properly. You're doing well.
Give him
Christ,
some time.
you've made it like that, sir. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So after his father returned from being stationed abroad, his family joins him while he attends an officer's candidate school in Georgia. So they moved to Georgia. Everybody says just very, very, very cruel. By the time he was about 4, it was at least like twice a week he would punch him with a closed fist, everybody said, at some point in the week. So it was, Robert probably had mixed emotions when Dad came home from being overseas. Like, oh, great. Ooh, no, maybe not. So... And Mom even says in her own words that she didn't protect him from the abuse at all. She just let it happen.
At that, what are you going to do?
Well, there's a reason for it. It's because he was beating the shit out of her too.
Right.
So this is fucking disgusting, man. What a terrible human being this guy is. Once he was little, we're talking under 5, and he accidentally shit the tub during a bath.
Okay.
Which a kid will do once in a while. It's a terrible thing, but it happens.
And he also probably has a lot of damage to his nervous system from being beaten for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't control that well anyhow. Because it's nuts what child abuse can do to a person.
Well, the father called him a filthy little boy and yelled at him. Then this is one of the worst things I've ever heard here. Made the child pick up the excrement and rub it on his chest.
What?
On his own chest, not his dad's. He didn't say rub it all over me, son. On his own chest. He said rub it on all over yourself. There, look what you did. That's the worst. That's so fucking disgusting. I'd rather be.
The punishment is bad enough to tell him pick it up and put it in the toilet.
I'd look at that and be like, can you just punch me instead and then you'll clean it up? Because I don't want to do that. I'd rather take a punch. I'm just saying, if I put myself as a kid, I know myself as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother would pop you all the time. So, like, a beating wasn't that bad of a thing for me. Like, as a kid thinking about it, now it sounds insane. But as a kid, I was like, I'd much rather be smacked around than fucking have to rub shit on myself. So, anyway, his sister, Elena, said that the father was, quote, very scary, is how she labeled the father. Sure. That's how you want your young daughter thinking of you, as very scary. That's perfect. She's going to find a wonderful man, I'm sure. You know, like you've programmed your kids very well. You got one thing, shit for brains 1 and 2, and fucking, you know, you find someone you're scared of. Okay, everybody good? Excellent. Let's... everyone abused? Great. Oh, and Mom, come here a minute. Pow, let me punch you too. Like, this guy's a psychopath.
Everybody in his orbit is catching some sort of damage.
This is just, he just, wow. She said he would hit her brothers and was also, you know, verbally abusive to them, obviously. Shit for brains 1 and 2. Yeah. And she said that was when she was talking about hit the brother, you know, Robert 5 times more than William. And, she said that, in her opinion, the father's behavior basically broke him before he was ever established as a person. Like, he destroyed them.
I've already heard enough from 6 months to 5 years that will ruin you for quite some time.
Some Dexter level shit. Like, this is bad.
That's going to take years of therapy to fix already.
Well, he had a lot of therapy too. We'll get into it. Robert began to have night terrors as a child.
Oh.
You know, because he's probably scared of his dad. There's a lot of psychology there. He said a puppet was trying to attack him. And they said, she took him to his child psychologist about it, I think. And they said, describe the puppet. The puppet was basically just a sock puppet, but was wearing the same coat his father wears.
Right.
That's the night terrors he would have, of a nightmare of a puppet dressed as his father attacking him.
It's not the puppet. It's his dad.
Yeah, he's a little scared of dad here. Then he started getting weird, Robert, after this. Once, because to 5 years old, kids are still kind of in a nutshell, but they start to express themselves after that a little bit, you know? And he had a G.I. Joe at that point, one of those big fucking 60s G.I. Joes, the tall boys there. A big 22-ounce G.I. Joe they had. Well, deuce, you know what I mean? He had a G.I. Joe, and he would put it in the street in the line of where tires went on the cars, like in the line of the tracks.
In the groove,
to watch it get run over. So they didn't know if that was just, you know, I mean, boys blow shit up. We do weird shit when we're kids. Yeah. So that's not considered really aberrant behavior, but doing it alone, just creepily sitting there watching a fucking G.I. Joe get run over, it seems less. If it was like 3 kids doing it and they were like, oh man, look at that would be different than what's going on here. He's just like,
He's just sitting there experimenting.
Yeah. I'm controlling your life, Joe. He starts talking like Cobra, fucking God.
And it's a GI. That's Joe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So he would do that in December 1966. He's about 5.5 years old. That was when his dad left for Vietnam after that, because before that he had gone overseas and come back. He had been stationed different places. He leaves for Vietnam in 66. So he returns from his first tour of duty when I guess Robert's almost 7. And they said that as soon as he got home for a little while, Robert immediately regressed in all of his development. Everything from academic to social to just, completely turned into a different person.
Because that's the cause of your issues.
Yeah. He would have accidents in his pants, just all the time. And if the father found out about it, he would beat the shit out of him and make him wash his pants out in the bathtub and do all that shit. So he definitely would, make him think he did something horrible. If the father disapproved of any of the children's manners at the table, he would stab them in the hand with his fork.
What?
He would fucking stab his children with a fork.
If they were difference between that and a knife. That's fucking dangerous.
If they were well mannered, if they weren't well mannered, he would, if someone reached for something, he'd stab them with a fork in the hand, and that was like
shit.
Everyone knew that was the punishment, which was really wild.
Psychotic.
When Robert was 10, he had braces, and I guess the dad punched him in the mouth real hard and just tore his whole mouth apart because it got ripped up on the braces. He apparently one time, Robert was sitting in a chair, and he was doing something, I don't know what they were doing, academically or whatever it was. He was going over something with homework or something.
Yeah.
And Robert missed a number in an equation or some shit like that he was doing, and his dad punched him and knocked him out of the chair to the point where he drew blood from the punch. So for mess, not like, hey, try that again, pal. Hey, I don't think that was quite right. Let's go over one more time and see if you make sure you got it. Like, how about that? How about being a fucking parent?
I'd really like to know what made him this. Was it Vietnam, or was he raised like this? Do you know what I mean?
He was abusive before. He didn't go to Vietnam until they were 5.
So it's a combination.
It happened to him, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the only explanation I got here, probably. Or he's just a sick fuck, either one. But
how crazy is that?
This is insane. This is a crazy childhood. This is a scary childhood.
The psychology of like growing up like that and then inflicting that on another human being, on a child, is like, I earned this. That's what that entitlement is. It's crazy. That that is nuts.
Which shows a real lack of any inflection too. You never thought to yourself, "Wow, that was really terrible what my dad did to me. I'm never going to do that to my kids." You never thought. You never had that thought, or were you like, "I can't wait to have kids so I can beat them too." Like
it's my turn.
Wow.
No.
What a weird fucking way to look at it. That's really
having
fucking weird.
Compassion and caring about your kids enough not to punch them seems
helpful.
Pretty minimal.
Yeah, just really asking the bare minimum. Honestly, it's not even minimal. So I guess the father here would drink more heavily and more heavily as time went on, and became increasingly more abusive as he drank more. That's shocking. Alcohol and alcohol and family abuse kind of go hand in hand, don't they? I mean, let's be honest here. Like if someone's an aggressive, fucking violent person, and they're not going to calm down from booze, usually that's only going to make it worse.
I haven't heard many people, I'm sure they exist, but I haven't heard many people that do this to their kids that don't drink.
Yeah. And I haven't heard a lot of people go, man, that guy's a real asshole till you get him drunk, and then he's great. I've never heard that either. Have you?
Fucking hate that guy. Get him a drink. It's usually the thing that fixes all of this.
You get like 3 scotches in him, and boy, he turns into a regular party. He's like John Candy. Like, nobody doesn't like him. He's just a happy guy, man. No, you hear the opposite. Best guy I've ever met. He's great. Fucking 3 drinks, he turns into a monster. He'll rape your sister. I swear to God. He'll just jump all over. Monster, animal.
Buy him drinks.
It's nuts. He'll punch your grandma right in the face. I swear to God. On Christmas Eve. He did it to mine. It's scary. Can't do it. So he did all of this. The family lived primarily in Florida during this time after, post-Vietnam, until Robert was about 9 years old in 1970. Then they moved to Puerto Rico for about 11 months. Oh. So kind of gave him his first touch of some island life there, just, not on a main land. He used to work as a bartender, the father. That's where he was in the military a little. In the military, worked as a bartender. Then he got stationed overseas and went to Vietnam and did all that. Always had an alcohol problem. Always, though. Right. His mom's a registered nurse, which nurses are great people and often pick assholes that they're trying to fix too. True. It's another thing. That's why they want to be a nurse. They want to fix people. They want to help people and fix them, and that's not a bad thing to be. It's a nice thing to be, but it hurts themselves more than anybody else ever.
Right.
So she's a nurse. She's also an alcoholic too. So they're both big drinkers. They both have a huge alcohol problem, and that's part of it too. His mom doesn't control anything because A, she's getting beat up too, and B, she's drunk too at the same time. So also 1972, she received a prescription for Valium. And then she got into that pretty. Oh yeah, that with the alcohol too. So she is flying. That's it's 2:30 in the afternoon. You get home from school, and it's like, Mom's sleeping, don't wake her up, type of thing. And she's
that is a fascinating combination of things to consume. When one already drops you, and you hit another one that drops you lower, that's Jesus, fuck.
And then, not surprisingly, right after she got the Valium in 1972, so she's drunk and on her Valium, she's run over by a car.
Because she couldn't move.
While intoxicated.
Yeah.
Run over by a car. So she lives, but she's hurt, obviously, by being run over by a car. I guess the kids always saw the father beating up the mother. That happened. He didn't hide anything from anybody. He was beating everybody right out in the open. There was none of that shit going on here. They said that everybody said, all the siblings, the mom, everybody said the father never praised Robert for anything in any way. Never nurturing, never anything. Because he didn't even think he was his. He was shit for brains number 2, the one that's not even mine. Like, didn't give a fuck about him whatsoever, which is pretty wild. The father, this is how crazy the dad is. Okay, we've heard a lot of crazy shit so far. He was brazenly unfaithful. Brazenly.
How?
Well, it doesn't get any more brazen than this. He would drive by the house with a girlfriend and wave to the wife and kids. That's how brazen. I've heard of brazen before. I'm not talking about going to their favorite restaurant together and like acting like it's no big deal. Like, you know, hey, that's the one we go to. None of that shit. Drove by beeping the horn. Honk, honk. Hi, wife and kids. No, wave, Tawny, please. Wave at the wife and kids.
The only step above that is like getting a blowjob while watching the Cowboys in the living room.
Yeah, or just coming home and being like, she's staying over tonight, so try to get over as far as you can on the bed tonight when you go to bed. We'll be in later.
On the couch. I got some.
I got some trim coming about 1:30. Jesus Christ, man! This guy is
what a monster.
He's a monster, monster,
and you can't leave him because he's unhinged, and you have no idea what he's capable of.
And she's on drugs. She's drunk, and she's also abused. So I mean, all three of those things. This is just a crazy toxic swirl of shit that just keeps going. It's a boiling cauldron, never stops.
It's salty.
It's more than that. It's disgusting. So it's got like cloves and shit in it. It's nasty.
It's my mom. I think that's my mom's favorite cooking seasoning.
Oh God, I can't eat it.
It's so awful.
I can't eat it, man.
I hate it.
What is that? Clove in there? Pah.
Just like picking them out of the ham. Why'd you do that?
Clove, capers, anything like that.
Oh, I love capers.
I can't eat a caper, man.
Really?
No.
They're so good.
One time I thought it was a pea, and I ate one, and it was like, that's not a pea.
It's different. Yeah.
If you're expecting a pea, a pea tastes like nothing. A caper tastes like everything. If you put all those things
all at
together,
once.
it's not your
a
brain.
Caper is like an everything bagel in like the most simple form,
stuffed into a pea.
Yeah.
Here you go. Maybe they should advertise
concentrate. It's an everything bagel from concentrate.
Maybe that's where everything bagels come from.
Yeah.
It's 1 caper per bagel, and it really fluffs up when you break it up, like weed. Sometimes bud's pretty tight, and you break it up. And, hey, that guy really broke up nice.
Put it in a blender; they get real big.
They get big. Wow. So he once introduced Elena, the young girl, the little sister, to a woman and said, she's going to be your next mommy. Wow. So he's like, I'm having an affair. I'm going to make sure it hurts the kids as much as possible. Not I'm going to try to make sure I hide it. I'm going to make sure it really destroys the kids from the ground up. Really fucks them up good.
That is a fascinating woman that would be a part of that.
Wow. And she's like,
just stand there and be like, yeah.
Hi, sweetie. Like, what the fuck? After they end up getting a divorce. His mom and his dad, William and Laura, which is, thank God. At that point, the father, William, he told his children, quote, now you're out of my life and I've never been so happy. Don't ever bother me.
I have not hurt you enough.
Wow. This is absolutely bonkers. I don't even know what to say about this, man. I've never been so happy. Don't bother me. I'm going to bang that woman who was waving at you from the right side of the fucking Edsel last week.
I got you a new mommy. Now don't be in our life.
Now get out of here. So after the mom leaves him, she immediately takes the son here, Robert, to a psychiatric clinic in Long Beach, California, because she takes the kids to California to get away from him. Because they're in Florida, and she's like, I'll go as far away as I can get. That's California. So in Long Beach, she takes him to a psychiatric clinic, what she called on and off for a long time, to try to,
I'm sure,
fix this, or at least mitigate some of this craziness that's gone on in this poor guy's life at this point. At one point, he actually went to live with his father.
Why?
What
fuck happened?
I don't know how that happened, because I picture him like the kid in Parenthood with the bag under his arm. And he calls his dad, and then his dad's like, "No, I'm currently, about at least a tip into my girlfriend here. I can't possibly take care of you." So, but no, he goes to live there. But apparently, what was said was the father was dissatisfied with everything that Robert did and sent him back to live with his mother. Wow. This kid's a piece of shit. Take him back. He's broken. This one's defective, and he sent him back on a plane. Wow. That's incredible. I don't even know what to say about that. So the mom said that for some time she got child support from the father, actually. He paid like a good amount of child support, and then he got remarried and he reduced the child support to
we can't do that.
To a super low level, to the point where she couldn't afford to stay in her home. So she, the mom, the nurse, started to work for a construction company.
So make it what?
Because it was
freeways and shit.
It made more money than her nurse job, so she did that instead. Yeah, I guess she later got married to another guy. Jack McFarlane was his name, who actually helped her and helped pay for her to go to nursing school again to get another degree, so she could do something better that she wanted to do. And She ended up, calming down, no booze, no alcohol, all that. So Laura gets better here, which is good, and becomes Laura McFarland, and that's how that works. So, but after he gets sent back from Florida with the dad, go back to his mom there, Robert has no more contact with his father for years after that.
That's great. Just
gone. So now, what was Robert doing while all this crazy shit was going on? What was he doing when he wasn't being punched in the head? Let's see here. First of all, they were divorced officially in 1975. Laura got remarried in 1984, so he was already 23. So the stepdad being nice isn't going to help Robert at all.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So Robert recalls drinking a small amount of beer when he was about 8 or 9 years old, and he liked it. He said he enjoyed what it did. He said he felt a little, fuzzy, and it felt kind of good. So then he said he would try it a little more and a little more because he liked the way it felt. And, when he's 12, 13 in California, he said his alcohol use increased drastically when he moved back to California. This is when he was going to the psychiatrist and all that. He was also drinking like a monster. He continuously, he said, he started smoking when he was 12, and he's already hard drinking. So what goes better with booze than a nice cigarette, One of the other kids was like, if you really want to feel good, I know you like drinking your gin, and I appreciate that. Your bourbon, it's very good, but if you really want something, try a Pall Mall. I feel like you'll appreciate these a lot. Try a Chesterfield. What do you say?
Really makes the booze go much faster to your brain.
It's better that way. You're going to like it. So he was doing that. He's smoking, he's drinking, and all that shit. So the mom, Laura, she said she first saw Robert under the influence of drugs when he was 14 years old in 1975. Yikes. So he picks up drugs in there pretty well. Started smoking weed when he was about 11.
Listen, man. It's the
but
LBC.
He was already hard drinking before that. Yeah. So he was just looking for whatever he could get his hands on, as we'll talk about right here. He's so into drugs and alcohol that he does terribly in school. He ends up dropping out in the 8th grade.
Oh, no.
Which I didn't know was legal. I didn't even think I thought you had to be like 16 to drop out. Maybe they passed that law later on.
Don't you got to be like emancipated to do that?
I don't know. Back then, though, there was probably some kind of like loophole for it, because like if a farm kid wanted to, I don't know what the hell it is. It's weird, but he said 8th grade was the last time he went to school. is what he did. So it was mainly just drugs and alcohol. And so was his brother was into drugs and alcohol as well, his older brother,
Really?
William. Yeah.
So much drama in the LBC.
Oh, my God. It's kind of hard being little Robert. What the fuck's his name? Edwards. It's really hard being Robert Little Eddie D. It's hard.
It's really hard being shit for these.
Oh, man. So him and his brother committed burglaries to get drug money at this point in time.
My.
This is, I mean, they're he's like 14, 15 years old. This is a mess. This is bad. Remember the kids who did shit like that when you were 15? Like, to get drugs for themselves? That's a different. There was kids who sold drugs and kids who needed drugs, and they made
They usually get crossed.
different crimes, very much so. So they would commit them anyway. So Laura here, the mom, she saw Robert's brother William drunk for the first time when he was about 14 years old too. So this happened a lot. And a few years later, Elena, the sister, she had problems with drugs and alcohol too.
Oh, God.
So all three of them have drug alcohol issues. And, I mean, both parents are alcoholics. Mom has a drug problem. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. That's just what you saw in the home.
Cyclical as fuck.
You saw it in the home, and that's what it is. So his paternal grandmother was, they say here, addicted to Ativan? What is Ativan?
Oh, really? Ativan?
What is that?
Oh,
what
it's
is
a
that?
drug.
It's Ativan. That's I know exactly what that is. Never mind.
It's a psychotic drug.
Yes.
It's something that people take for. It's kind of like. Is it like
Do
Adderall?
they use it?
Ativan?
I thought they used Ativan for. I thought that was depression, like in the 80s. They'd use that shit for maybe. No, I could be wrong. I could be completely
usage,
wrong.
Dosage, side effects. What the fuck is it? It's lorazepam.
Okay, there you go.
So it's like it's gonna be like fucking Valium, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So it's some sort of mood enhancing drug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. All right. So
Anxiety disorder. So yeah. So it's gonna be like it's gonna
a
be
chill
like,
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Valium.
for your man Chuck chill out right there. That's what that is. That's going to happen. So so Laura's mother was addicted to Valium, and his paternal grandmother. So William, his father's mother, was addicted to Ativan. Laura, the mother, her mother was taking Valium and Percodan as well.
Wow.
So I mean, drugs and alcohol just run rampant.
Prescription.
Yeah, through both sides of his bloodline here. It's
Holy
just,
shit.
I mean, that's a lot here. And, all four of Laura's siblings, because she has four siblings, all had problems with alcohol, and another one of her sisters was addicted to Valium as well. So, problems. He apparently didn't have a drug of choice, Robert. Everything. Like an open sewage fucking hatch, just whatever falls in.
Put it in there.
Put it in. It all floats down here. So once he was exposed to alcohol and drugs, he completely fucking lost control, basically, is what they say. They said that one of the doctors would say that he said there was something wrong with sobriety. That's what he always thought. And something was wrong with how he felt all the time. He always felt like. So he would try to alter it, is how it goes. That's what he told the psychiatrist. He began, we talked about drinking.
Uh-oh.
Okay, why would you need drugs to the point of robberies? Well, because he began injecting drugs by the age of 13, 14, which is why you drop out of the 8th grade, because you're shooting up. That's a lot. Wow. This apparently is unusual. This is a very early age to do this. This isn't normal. This isn't, that's about 20% of kids. And
I don't think I've ever met a kid 13 years old that was shooting shit into their veins.
No, 13's really young for that shit.
Yeah.
So even this one addiction doctor they talked to later on said that's, quote, quite unusual for that to be. They said it's indicative of extremely rapid progression of addiction. He's has to be, unless he started when he was 7. He said, a doctor said about all of what I just described to you, the childhood, the upbringing, what I interpret when I hear these stories is that something is really wrong with this kid. Something is really intolerable for him or her. That something is either happening in their home or, as we mentioned earlier, they are chronically dysphoric. They feel really bad. So all of that, I'd say, is happening there. let's see. Where do you start? I got punched in the head when I was 6 months old, so we'll go from there.
And it's been downhill since then.
Yeah, no shit. So he went, like, immediately, smoked weed, but then he got right into LSD, got into cocaine. He was doing meth, any amphetamine he could get his hands on, barbiturates, then finally heroin. He was like, yeah, I like that. So he would shoot coke, he'd shoot heroin, he'd shoot meth, he'd do whatever was going on.
Boy, oh boy.
Through his teenage years, it just got worse. He just more drugs, more alcohol. He would call this, this is, I don't know if this is what you do. I don't know anything much about shooting up because that's one. Yeah, I don't fuck with needles.
Ever do.
Yeah,
never.
I don't fuck with that shit at all. I don't like no powders, pills, none of that shit. I'm a strictly weed guy. So this is a little much, but this is from court documents later. Quote, Robert frequently used a technique called jacking off when injecting drugs.
Okay.
Didn't know that was a thing. It's probably not. This is probably what one doctor called it and then put it in a report and acted like that's what everyone calls it. I don't know.
Or does he mean for the use of drugs or like he shoots up to tug?
I think he injects semen into his bloodstream, probably. I don't know. No. After injecting the drug, he would draw blood into the syringe and then re-inject it into his arm. He also called this technique, he also used a technique called shooting water, which involved attempting to collect and use any residue of a drug that might be left in a bag. So he just tried to, So he'd end up...
That's the shooter's equivalent of scraping the bowl for resin.
Yeah. Scraping the bowl, it's immediately...
Get it all.
Get it all in there. What do we got? Oh, look at that. I found a big chunk there.
That's a common thing to do, though, to back the syringe out to get the blood to mix it in there and then boost it because that gets it going already and then it hits it in and it's already jump started.
Terrible. I'd want to get that out of my arm as soon as possible. Hang out in there and fuck with it. Let me pull it out, put it back in. No, what am I, a maestro at this shit? Conducting my bloodstream? No, you bloodstream stream the way it needs to stream. I'm not going to keep putting shit in there. It's crazy.
I'm not going to reverse the flow of this.
No, I don't know what's going on here. Ever mess with like a vacuum in a pool? It starts going the wrong way. Like, oh, shit, it's climbing out of the thing now. What am I doing? I don't want to mess with it. I don't know what's going on.
So good.
So a guy named Carl Stevens knew Robert in junior high school in Long Beach before he dropped out. He said he used to hang out with Robert a bunch. They hung out like 25 times outside of school. A buddy that you'd hang out with. On each occasion, it was always drinking alcohol or using drugs.
Oh, boy.
7th, 8th grade, we're talking here. So he testified later, he will say, that he dropped out of school when he was in the 8th grade, and then he did money doing day labor and odd jobs.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a child day laborer who's hooked on fucking heroin? I'll show up at like 10:30 maybe and be kind of gaunt and maybe fall asleep and nod off.
14-year-old digging trenches?
That's who I want on my crew. He experienced, he said, his first alcoholic blackout when he was about 16. He said various situations he remembers blacking out, such as being with friends, making plans to go somewhere, and then suddenly finding himself walking alone in the street at 5 a.m. and not knowing how he got there. Shit like that. On another occasion, he found himself... This is crazy. This is some Robert Downey Jr. in the fucking early 2000s shit here. Pre Iron Man RDJ shit here.
Pre-beloved Iron Man?
Yeah. He found, well, remember wasn't he on like somebody's roof or something? Didn't he wake up?
Oh my God,
like
James. He was loathed in Hollywood because of his crazy antics. Yeah. He was on somebody's roof naked.
Well, this is worse. This guy, he found himself under a kitchen table in a strange house. He woke up under a kitchen table not knowing where he was, and then he just had to get out of the house because he was like, fuck, I'm in a stranger's house. I broke into a house and sat under the table.
Yeah. He woke up to a B&E.
Yeah, oh shit, I'm committing a felony. I gotta run. He said that there was never a time when he became aware of his surroundings after blacking out, and he never had a reason to suspect that he had been involved in a violent crime while he blacked out. He said he never had blood on him or not that it wasn't his, you know what I mean? Right. Maybe he'd break up with some scraped knees or some, fell down or some shit, but none of that. When he was 18, he said that he injected what he called an unknown drug. He just got something, he didn't know what it was, so he's figured, what better way to find out than to inject it into my bloodstream? Jam it into my fucking arteries here. What are you? That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. I don't know what this is. Yeah. You would think you would never have to tell someone if they go, I wonder what this is. You wouldn't have to tell them, well, don't inject it into your bloodstream to try to find out. That just goes without saying, right?
Toss them a spoon and they'll get it. They'll understand.
I suppose. So
give it a shot. I don't know what it is. Oh no, this is Ajax. Don't do that.
Oh man, yeah. It's like up in smoke here. I just did then I made elephant noises. So he said from this, he quote thought he was going to die. He didn't know what it was. It was nothing that he thought. I don't know. He could have injected anything into himself. We have no idea. That's what I mean. Who knows? I did find when he was 17, he was in a motorcycle accident. I found here. It was in the newspaper. He was riding and he lost control of his motorcycle and fell off and was injured, it said. So
yeah, because he injected baby powder.
Yeah, who the hell knows what he was on here? So when he starts a little bit later, he's in his late teens, early 20s. He and his brother started a business together.
Oh, great.
That's good enterprising. Well, it's not actually. You wouldn't encourage your son to do this. They're selling fake LSD. That's what they're doing. They got paper that looked like LSD and had little designs on it, but there was no actual
drugs
on it. No, you just put it in your mouth. He testified, quote, wow, it's a safe way to make money without committing a crime. Well, wrong, and wrong. First of all,
definitely a crime.
If you're selling someone fake drugs, that's not legal, number one. Number two, that's not safe because if someone finds out you sold them fake drugs and they find you, they're going to bash your fucking head in. You can't do that. They're going to beat you like your dad.
Unless you do it like Go and you sell it to nerds at a rave, then that's the only way you're going to get out of it. Otherwise, you sell it to a legitimate person that likes LSD, watch the fuck out.
Yeah. Remember what happened to what's his name there? Bubbles' friend in The Wire? Remember what happened to him?
Right.
Don't mess around like that.
No.
So, yeah, not a safe way to do anything. That's with fake money, but still. 1984, he's 23. He is convicted of a second-degree burglary in California here. So he's, you can only steal for drug money for so long before you get caught. That's just how that goes. In 1985, he has a son, Jimmie.
What? Oh, my God.
No. And his name, Robert Mark Edwards Jr.
Really?
Oh, he juniored him up just like a crime and sports athlete, man.
Oh, my.
He'll go by Robbie, the son.
What legacy do you need to pass?
I would think I need to fix a lot first. But I mean, if you're also drinking and on fucking drugs all the time, you might slip one past the goalie. I don't think you're going to be that.
I'm sure it wasn't planned.
Par and protection. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think they sat down and said, let's have a family. I don't think that's what happened. Sat down by the fire and said, let's have a family. Let's do it. Wow. So he was born January 23rd, 1985. And I guess from what everybody says, he had made a lot of efforts to visit him, talk to him by phone and letters. He's everybody says, including the son, that he's a fucking really good dad. Really attentive, kind, non-abusive, never hits.
Gives a shit.
Very encouraging. They always say he's trying to teach his son self-esteem all the time. Like always,
nice.
Like, no, you're good and all this type of, no, don't rub poop on your chest. Yeah, that's not good. Basically doing the opposite of what his father did, like complete opposite. So that's what happens. Yeah. If you're abused bad, you either do that again or you do the complete opposite. There's only two ways that reaction
seems
goes.
Like there's a line, though. Like it has to be so extreme before you get to that other side and you go, well, I will never inflict this pain and punishment upon another human being. This is fucked up.
I think it's just how much it affects you, how much you were affected by it is probably a big part of it.
Takes a lot of self-realization to find that, though, so good on him for finding that.
Absolutely. December 1985, Robert is in a motorcycle accident, another one here, and he hurts his leg and has surgery on his right leg. So he's got his leg in a cast for like the whole first few months of 1986. He's got his leg in a cast. That's a broken leg,
James.
Yeah, he had to have surgery on it, had to have it put together again with fucking screws and shit. Yeah. So 1986 comes along, spring of 1986. Robert meets Catherine Valentine. How does he meet her?
Yeah.
Well, like every great love story starts, Jimmie, he was selling fake LSD at a bus stop. Isn't that how you met Emily, right? That's how I met Sarah.
Yeah.
I said, hey, yeah, you want some LSD? And she was like, that doesn't look right. And I was like, wow, she's fucking good, man. And that was it. I looked in her eyes and I knew it was time. So he was out there slinging LSD and at the bus stop. She drove by in her pickup truck, just saw a guy with a cast at the bus stop and offered him a ride.
Wow.
Hey, ladies, don't do that. Ever. That's how Ted Bundy murdered many fucking people like that. Don't do that at all. That is bad.
Well, he would ask for help, and that means that he's looking for people. But if this guy's just struggling and going about it and not asking for help, probably safe. We can pick him up.
Maybe that's true. But he could be trying to look pathetic over there. You don't know.
Good point.
Dropping books and shit. Oh, no.
No, I got it.
Swiping at him with a crutch, like trying to get him out of the street. So, no, but she stopped. What a nice person, by the way, Catherine Valentine is. Sees a guy with a cast. This is in Long Beach. This isn't in fucking Mayberry, you know?
Right. This is
like, you're a nice person, man. That's really nice. She offers him a ride, and they begin dating after that.
Wow.
How lucky can you be, this guy? He's sitting at a bus stop with a cast on his leg, trying to sell fake acid, and a fucking woman literally comes to you, picks you up, and begins dating you. That's amazing. What if that's a miracle?
Stay off of dating apps and just wait till it fucking comes to you. That's what it is.
Break your leg and stand at a bus stop. What kind of what are you talking about here?
The minute you stop looking, it finds you.
It finds you at a bus stop. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and then next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmie had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at hero.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So they begin dating. She gives him a key to her truck.
Wow.
Key to my truck and key to my heart.
Yeah.
There you go. Told him.
Chevy and Hart got the same amount of letters.
See that? Remember the Heartbeat of America? Pum, pum. Remember that? Them commercial? Yep, that's the one. Yeah. So even told him there's a spare key in the little, hide a key magnetic thing underneath the truck too. Showed him where that was too, just in case. You never know. Introduced him to her mother even. Her mother, Marjorie, here. Marjorie Diebel is her name. Brought him over to her house, to Marjorie's house, and talked about, met him and whatever. He, another time he was over at the house there, at the mother's house, helping her and his girlfriend load Debbie's car for a weekend trip for her to go to Palm Springs, or for them both to go to Palm Springs. I'm sorry. Both meetings, very cordial. Everybody gets along. Mother doesn't hate him. That's a good sign. So she, this is March of '86 when they start dating. And for about, 2 months, they saw each other every evening. They were an item, hanging out, seeing each other, doing their thing. Robert, when they went to Palm Springs, the mother and daughter, Robert borrowed the truck because they weren't going to use it. He borrowed the truck. When they returned from Palm Springs, the truck was all fucked up, apparently. Something had died on it. They said a generator died on it or something. Do trucks have generators? I don't know.
Well, back then they may have. It's just the alternator.
Okay, that's what I mean. Does she mean alternator was what I was going to say. So anyway, that happens, and I guess the mother said to tell him to take it to the dealership for repair, and no anger or anything, just something happened. So take it into the dealership and everything like that. The mother here, Marjorie, even paid for it. Gave him a blank check with the made out to the dealership, write the amount in, whatever the
you put the
repairs
number in.
cost.
I don't care. Yeah.
Well, whatever they could cost, that's what you got to pay. So that was it. But no ill will, no anger, no anything like that. It was all good. It wasn't his truck. It's if she was driving it, the alternator would have fucking died. It's not like you can make an alternator die, really, probably.
It doesn't matter how you drive. The alternator usually just keeps doing whatever it does.
Yeah, until it doesn't. That's it.
Right, until it stops doing it.
That's how they work. It's not like, oh, man, Jesus, did you take the side road? Well, no wonder the alternator died. Jesus, you were taking side roads.
Told you they haven't graded that road. It knocks out everybody's alternator.
Just bang, gone every goddamn time. Actually, one time, Robert and his girlfriend here, Valentine, they went into Marjorie Diebel's house when she wasn't there and got it on. As a matter of fact, they had it was probably a nicer house, more room. He continued. That sounds like he's doing great in life, doesn't it?
Terrific.
He's cleaned himself right up. Well, no, he hasn't. He continues to use drugs and alcohol during this whole time, but he figures out how to compartmentalize it so she doesn't really see it. She didn't know anything about drugs. So he would do drugs separate of her. He'd go in another room. He'd go in the bathroom. He wouldn't
She's unaware of what he was doing when she met him?
Not really. And then later on, she's aware of it, but he keeps it to the side, and he's a nice guy. So she's like, I don't know. I guess it's okay. I think that's what she's thinking. At one point, at her request, he let her watch him inject cocaine into his system here. So she said, let me watch you do it. I want to see what it is. What are you doing to yourself here?
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Here, sit down.
But she said she only saw him inject cocaine the one time and only witnessed him drinking once as well. So he kept it separate, and she said she never saw him passed out, never saw him blacked out on drugs or alcohol or any of that shit. He was around her. He was a different person than he was, selling fucking fake acid at the bus stop like a weirdo. So May of 1986, Marjorie Diebel is killed. She's murdered. Okay. She's murdered in her home. And when she's found, Robert and Valentine, her daughter, were visiting his aunt and uncle. They were, together. It was in town, but, in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area, visiting his aunt and uncle. Valentine said, I have to go to the Los Alamitos Police Department because something happened to my mother, and they just called me, and I got to get over there. So I guess Valentine and Robert, they drove to the police station together. Robert waited in the lobby while she went in to talk to the detectives about, her mother being found murdered in the house. We'll talk about it. It's brutal. And after a few minutes, he could hear her crying in there. And she also, the daughter Valentine, she identified, she was looking at photographs of her mom when she was alive and identified certain jewelry that she was wearing in photographs that aren't there now, that weren't in the house. So they were saying, do an inventory, tell us if anything was stolen, because that's important for a lot of reasons to find out who the fuck did this and why they were there. So I guess after that, they continued to date. Robert and Valentine continued to date for a couple of weeks after the death. And then it petered out. Those chicks with their dead mothers, it gets real,
That grieves.
Jeez. I got
with this shit.
Sit and watch her mourn and be sad. God.
The day she cries? Jesus.
Jesus, forget about it.
Trying to shoot cocaine over here.
Yeah, keep it down. I'm trying to put it in a needle into my vein. It's hard to do. Every time I fucking miss. It's a kind of scumbag. So
I'm out of coke. I'm gonna have to shoot Jack Daniels.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it. Then I'll take it out, put it back in again. So Valentine asked him to attend the funeral with her, and he said, that's a little too heavy for me. I'm not fucking getting involved in all that. This was when they started kind of drifting apart. And he was like, this is a lot of heavy shit here. Talk about short-sightedness. Like, I don't know. There's going to be a funeral and stuff. That's a lot. I don't feel like doing this, She's going to be sad for like a couple of months. This is a lot, man. So then they drifted apart, but remained on good terms. It wasn't like he didn't do anything bad to her. None of that shit. Like, it was just they just drifted apart and just became friends after that. He did refuse the police, because he knew her and anybody who'd been in the house ever. He refused police requests for blood, urine, and hair samples. What? He would not give those. But the reason why is because he said, I don't have any mobility. I can't bend my right knee. My leg is fucking destroyed. I can't even put my full weight on my leg. I can't run. I didn't fucking kill this woman, so I'm not going to bother doing that for you. So on the night of May 12th, this is the night she was killed. So they're like, well, where were you on May 12th? So he says, well, that's an easy one. Me and my brother were selling fake LSD outside of the Judas Priest concert. I couldn't make that up if I fucking tried. Selling fake acid outside the Judas Priest concert is the most 1986 thing I've ever heard in my life.
We were hell-bent for leather.
Mullet flowing on these guys. Priest T-shirt kicking with a denim jacket. A fucking Iron Maiden patch on the back of it. Rock on. So, yeah.
It's a great band.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good shit.
Them.
I read a book. I think their guitar player wrote a book. I read it. It's pretty interesting, actually, how that band. Yeah, it's interesting shit. So they left for the concert at about 4 p.m. Damn, they were going to get there early. Wait till get people on the way in.
Yeah, get the tailgaters.
They got home. They got back about 11:30. So they put in a 7-hour day. They put a shift in.
They were there longer than Judas Priest was there.
Get a fucking job if you're putting a shift in.
Yeah.
So you drove in L.A. traffic to get downtown. Did a 7-hour shift and then drove fucking all the way back. That's called working. Just go get a job. That's not illegal. What are you doing? They're not like, I go out on the corner for an hour. I go out on the corner for an hour and a half.
Bucks? Yeah.
So I mean, it's not I go out on the corner for an hour and a half. I come home with $10,000. How could I turn that down? It's not that. This is, we worked a full shift selling fake acid at the Priest concert. I guess it's all profit is the thing. So whatever.
But it's still a lot of effort to make literally not much money.
No, they drank booze all throughout the concert. They got drugs, and they used their money to buy drugs. Robert went home to inject cocaine and heroin and to drink. So that's his cocktail.
That's a sick night, James. They made enough money to go in and watch the concert, too.
No, they didn't go in the concert.
And then went home and did drugs. He drank at the concert?
From the outside. They had booze, like flasks with them, little bottles of booze they were drinking while they're selling shit. No time that week was he said he was never at Marjorie Diebel's residence. Okay. This case just goes unsolved. It goes unsolved.
That's all they got.
That's all they got. They can't find it. That's it. Now, November 1988, he's convicted of taking or driving an automobile without the consent of an owner, which sounds like stealing. That sounds like the definition if you said what's stealing.
That sounds like Grand Theft Auto is what that sounds like.
It very much so. So in 15 years he's been in California, roughly 74 to 89. He's been convicted 18 times of crimes.
Shit.
18 times. He violated parole, probation. He's a mess.
Yeah.
So at this point he is still on parole, and he decides to move to Hawaii, which, by the way, is not allowed if you're on parole.
How did he do that?
He just picked up and went to Hawaii. That was it.
Oh, my.
He moved to Hawaii to be with his sister, Elena, to stop using drugs. That was the thing. His sister had cleaned up her act, and she said, come here and clean up your act. It's a fucking island. You can't go anywhere.
Get it. Yeah. You have to find it, and it's crazy. It's hard to find.
Yeah. He attended NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous. He attended AA meetings. Right. He remained drug and alcohol free for 7 or 8 months. Mm-hmm. He's working for a roofing company. Craig Furtado, a roofing contractor in Maui, met him here. They met because Furtado lost his briefcase at an airport on Maui, and it contained valuables. He needed the brief. It was like, whatever. Robert found the briefcase, found the guy's information, his business card inside, called him up to return it.
Wow.
They met. Nothing was missing from the briefcase, and Robert refused any reward for it. He just said, no, that's ridiculous. I just called it. Anybody would do that. Totally different than 18 fucking burglaries and everything else. So,
and selling fake acid for free money.
Yes. Big difference between injecting heroin and cocaine Robert and sober Robert is a very large chasm in between those two things. So, so this guy was so impressed by that, he hired him. He owns a roofing business, hired Robert on to be a roofer. So there you go. He said that he worked there for about 5 months. He called him a hard worker who was prompt and honest and got along with everyone.
That big word, honest. That means everything to this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how he nailed the job interview.
That's it. He just returned something, didn't steal from the man. Mm-hmm. Another guy, or woman, Geraldine Jakeway, she says she met him on Maui in about 1992. She was in a wheelchair and often swam at the beach. One occasion, there was no lifeguards there to carry her to the water. That's what the lifeguard she knew would carry her to the water from the chair. So she asked a group if anybody there could help her, and he immediately volunteered and also waited around and assisted her out of the water when she was done swimming. She said she saw him on several other occasions where he would always assist her in and out of the water again because they were friends now.
That is darling.
That's nice. Another guy, William Farmer, he met Robert in about 1989 on Maui at an NA meeting or an NA dance. They had the big NA dance.
The ball.
The ball, the NA ball. That's very fucking nice. They immediately became friends, and Farmer hired him to do construction work for him. This is before the roofing job. So Robert was a very religious person at this time. He's described as religious, loyal, and hardworking is how this guy describes him. Linda Lauer, she says she met him in late 89, early 90. She's working on a research project for the Hawaii Department of Health. Lauer was a community health outreach worker, and she was trying to prevent the spread of AIDS by educating people on and assessing IV drug use between people and their sexual partners, and basically trying to track how it goes. Because this is still 89. The research wasn't all in yet. So
also inform people how this shit spreads, because that was a big problem.
People were freaking out. So she said getting IV drug users to answer lengthy questionnaires was difficult because she said the nature of the IV drug users and the illegal things they do. They didn't want to admit it on paper. So he was the first person to agree to be interviewed, Robert. She interviewed him at his apartment one evening. She said she didn't feel threatened or vulnerable. He was very nice and went about their business. And she said he appeared to be clean and sober, responded thoughtfully to deeply personal questions. Then he encouraged other people he knew in the program to participate. And she said it opened up the project for us on Maui.
Wow.
So helping people a lot. Then he began to, for 6 to 12 months in 1992, he lived in that William Farmer's house, the guy he met at the NA dance. And problem is, one night he came home drunk, shit-faced, Robert did, which was against the house rules. And Farmer said that Robert did not appear to even be the same person anymore. He was a completely different guy. Farmer said he felt threatened, he felt scared. And the following morning, I guess Robert had left after Farmer told him to leave. He came back the next morning in a sober state and had no recollection of anything that happened. He was like, what are you talking about?
Out.
Yeah. So he said, Farmer said he appeared genuinely surprised when he was informed that he was not welcome in the home anymore. He was like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything.
This is where I live.
So, so he begins using again. That was the problem. So at this point, he becomes homeless as well. So he's got a lot more problems now. Elena, at the time, she was a few years clean and sober at this point. She'd been doing well. She'd been doing a lot. And she said that she, tried to help him and everything like that, but it was difficult. The girlfriend of his, now he's using again. When he's using, though, he always has a girlfriend. He picks up, it's really weird, a woman named Naomi Lindemann. She said that she met him on Maui. They, I guess, had a relationship, a romantic one, for a while, and then it ended. And one night after they had broken up, he called her up and sounded real drunk and asked her to come over. And she said, no, I don't want to fucking come. He tried to booty call her, and she said, no, I'm not fucking coming. No, I don't think so. She awoke later on. She was awoken, I should say, to find Robert actively trying to insert a wine bottle into her rectal area.
Oh, my God.
Okay. She stopped it from happening and told him to get the fuck out of the house, obviously. Right. Didn't call the police or anything, though. Just told him to get the fuck out. Another time in 1990, after this incident, he's arrested in Hawaii for attempting to stab a woman. Mm-hmm. Can't do that. And he's charged with assault, except once he's arrested, he rings up on the system in the whole country, continental U.S. as well. And so back in the mainland. So he's never charged for this in Hawaii because he is yanked back to California on a parole violation for being in Hawaii. They didn't even know he was in Hawaii till now. So he ends up going back to do that, and they just dropped the attempted stabbing in Hawaii because they're like, California took him back. He's locked up. Fuck him. So he gets out in 1991 and goes back to Hawaii. So he brings a girl with him back there.
What?
And they buy an apartment. I don't know if she has money or what in Kihei.
World.
Wow,
really?
This guy, yeah, that is crazy.
On fucking Maui. He's
on Maui. This is crazy. Homeowner. This is when he's working for the roofing guy as well here. This is Pat's Roofing. A different roofing company here. He's working with Pat's Roofing. Jesus Christ. Anyway, he's working with that, working as a roofer. Everybody said he was considered normal by his colleagues and everything like that. But drugs he's getting into. His cousin Vincent Portillo lived on Maui for a month in 91, 92. And one night, Robert, and Robert's girlfriend, Brenda, different girl now, all drank really heavily. They got into a vehicle with Robert driving and Brenda in the passenger seat. They said that Brenda and Robert argued, and then Brenda hit him several times, is what this guy witnessed. He said Robert didn't hit her back, but he was trying to block hits and drive at the same time. And he said it was weird because he didn't even appear to be upset with Brenda, like, after that. It was like, well, that's normal. people hit me, I guess.
Yeah.
David Long, another guy, he said that he knew Robert for about a year in 1992, and he said he watched Robert ingest drugs and alcohol nearly every time he saw him. It's falling apart. Janice Hunt here. Janice Rossi. Janice Hunt, she said she dated Mark Edwards in Hawaii as well. This is summer 1992. They started talking there, and they're dating, and he'll move in later on. In 1990, he moves into her house in December 1992. She has a 12-year-old daughter as well. Okay. So he's moving into a house with a daughter now too. So, but everybody says he's amazingly nice to kids, and very nice. So that year he tried to get a hold of his dad, and during the summer he got a hold of his dad, and they started talking again. Okay. He even got a Christmas card in December 1992 that was signed "Love, Dad." Hey. And he said it's the first time his dad's ever said love to him in his life, and ever gave him a Christmas card.
He's will fuck you up.
He's over the moon about this. Like, he is fucking thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Then that in late December, I think it's December 19th, I believe, 1992. His dad, who's he pilots small planes because he was a pilot in the service there. His dad's plane crashes and he dies.
Oh my God! He got one time.
Like a week after he got the Christmas card, his dad's plane crashed. A week after
his dad told him he loved him, he died. Jesus.
Dead, gone. So this is bad stuff. Janice said his demeanor immediately changed. Like, he was instantly changed. He became quiet and depressed. She said he drank more heavily now than before. Sometimes he would have blackouts from being so drunk again. She described two incidents. One, he left his work truck at night, and the next morning they had to go search for the truck because he didn't know where it was because he was blacked out. He's like, I left my truck somewhere. Beats the shit out of me where.
No,
they had to find it. And no low jazz. That's the thing. No GPS. Another time when he apparently left a bag of groceries outside all night. He just went shopping, came home, and left the groceries in the car. Didn't bring them in. So
just got home and got out of the car and went in the house.
Super fucking weird, man. Very, very strange. On the evening of January 25th here, 1993, make sure you remember that here, he is at home, Janice is at home with her daughter and with Robert. Between 8 and 8:30 p.m., a friend of Robert's informed him that his dog had been killed. Okay, Robert's dog. She said he found the dog on the road, held it, and sobbed in the street, holding the dog. Then they buried the dog at sea. Right then, that night, they went out and buried the dog at sea.
It's just over the guardrail.
That's all. There he goes. Bye, Fluffy. So she returned home with her daughter. She went to bed between 11 and 11:30, and he wasn't home yet. He did return home before morning, but he's like, I got to get, clear my mind and do all that shit. So the next day, they hear about something that happened very nearby them in the neighborhood. A murder occurred that night.
Oh.
So we'll talk about that. Where was he? He went to a guy named Robert. He went to a guy's apartment that he knows, talked about his dog, and injected a half a gram of cocaine. That was him. When he left, the friend said he was more high with drugs and alcohol than he'd ever seen him before. Wow. Not good. So that's a time there. Between 11 p.m. he leaves. About 5 o'clock in the morning he comes home. So in there, he's out there somewhere.
6-hour window, just
completely wasted.
Breeze.
So that night, a woman named Muriel Hart Delbeck, Delbecq, she goes by Stevie is her nickname. She's 67 years old. She's originally from Indiana. She lives here. She's a real estate agent. She is a realtor in Alaska, and then she spends a few months each winter on Maui. She's a very successful real estate agent as well.
Look at her.
Well, look at her. She got strangled that night.
Oh, no.
And even worse. From what I found, she was from Whittier, California originally, and ended up, she was living in Anchorage, Alaska, and going down there. I saw she married a guy named Louis Delbeck. He was from Anchorage, Alaska, and that's how that happened. So apparently they're not married. I don't know if he died or if they're divorced or what, but judging by the fact that she spends her winters in Hawaii, they're probably divorced.
She's doing great.
So on the evening of January 25th, 1993, Peggy Ventura, who is her daughter, she dropped her off at Delbeck's first floor condominium on Kano Street in Kihei in Maui, and the following morning, about 7:30, she knocked on the door and didn't get any response. The front door was closed and locked, so the daughter here, Peggy, she used a key to enter. First thing she sees is blood on the carpet.
Yeah.
Sees that the living room phone is missing as well, just gone. And back then, everybody had a house phone in the living room.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. Also, her mom's bedroom door was closed and locked. So this is weird. Nothing is right. So she ran outside and told a neighbor to call 911 and then climbed in her mom's bedroom through a window. There was a comforter over the window. I think that was to keep the light out for the mom so she could sleep. It was pitch black in the bedroom. She can't see shit. Lights off, comforter over the window. The light switch didn't work. One of those where you got to turn a switch on a lamp. So, light switch that has a weird plug that's not in a good place to put a lamp.
Or the bulb is broken.
Yeah, or one of those. So the daughter, Peggy, she opens the bedroom door to get some light in. And what she finds is her mom on the bed under a pile of blankets. She's lying on her back, completely naked, no clothes, and her legs are spread apart. Her hands and feet are not bound. There are palm prints in blood on the wall. There's a bloody footprint found on a white T-shirt nearby. Her room was ransacked. The carpet was soaked with blood. Cigarette butts on the floor in the bedroom and the bathroom all over the place. The daughter said that she always wore her wedding ring, and there was no jewelry on her when they found her, but there was a white mark around her left ring finger. So,
where the ring used to be.
Which sounds like her dad died. Mm-hmm. Or sounds like her husband died is what that sounds like. So they were being, I guess, they got locked out once in December 1992. So the mom told the daughter that she was going to hide a key under a rock outside the condominium. So that ended up happening. But the window screen in the living room was bowed and damaged. So that's what they found out was probably the entry point. So it appeared the screen had been taken out and put back in improperly by someone who doesn't usually do it there. Pieces of dried grass were on the windowsill and on the floor underneath the windowsill. That makes sense. Climb in. A dumpster near the residence, police found a bloody pillowcase with a pattern that was consistent with the murder as well, with the bedding. I'm sorry, not the murder. The pattern on the actual bedding was consistent with her bedding. Same flowers. In the pillowcase there, the police found a variety of items, including a check for an account held by Muriel and Peggy Ventura, Muriel Delbeck and Peggy Ventura. They found traveler's checks, 2 telephones that the daughter identified as being her mother's, 2 pieces of telephone cord tied together. That's not a good sign. Cut clothing, so her clothing, but it was cut off of her. A flashlight, a wine bottle, 2 beer cans, a Seattle Seahawks game schedule. What are you doing? I need this, I need that, I'll steal that, and I have to know who the Seahawks are playing in Week 6. What the fuck are you doing in the middle of a murder?
Steve Martin from The Jerk did this.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's a strange, a golf tag, golf tees. He's a golfer now. Dishwashing liquid, a stain remover, like a bottle of that, shampoo, lotion, disposable razors, and scissors.
He just trick-or-treated all that into a pillowcase?
Into a pillowcase here. Now, Peggy, the daughter, she said that her mom, wearing her swimsuit, walked to the beach about 4 blocks away every morning. She said she'd walk down there. So one of the police that searched her apartment, ended up searching Robert's apartment, found binoculars on a small table located directly beneath a bedroom window that faced Muriel Delbeck's residence.
Oh, shit.
Janice, his girlfriend, had a pair of binoculars on by this window because she said she liked to watch whales because she had an ocean view. It also looked right at her house, Muriel Delbecq's house. So that's a problem. But she said, well, that was for me to watch whales. So, they found that. Using these binoculars, he could see what type of vehicle was entering and leaving the parking lot of Delbecq's building. That's how perfect it was on there. So what happened to poor Muriel Stevie? I'm sorry here. Dr. Alvin Amori conducted the autopsy, said that her head and right ear were bruised. There was bruising to the scalp caused by blunt trauma. Her nose is fractured. There's bruises to her lips and tears to the inner portion of her lips, like being punched in the face and having your teeth cut your lips if you've ever been punched in the mouth.
Assault on her head.
Yep, indicating force or pressure was placed over the mouth area. Her neck was bruised. Her hyoid bone, which is above the voice box, that's the one you can tell if you've been strangled or not, that is broken as well. The skin over the voice box had an incised type of abrasion as well, caused by sharpened or pointed object being scraped horizontally across the skin.
Yikes.
So, holding a knife to someone's throat and going a little too hard, something like that they're thinking here. Also, similar abrasions appeared on the lower portion of the left neck, the left anterior chest around the breast area, including the nipples of both breasts.
Oh, no.
There's little cuts everywhere. Both breasts were bruised as well. A puncture wound over the left lower chest. Ligature marks on her wrists and ankles indicated that she had been bound, even though when they found her she wasn't. They found tied telephone cords in a pillowcase. You can
pretty good indicator, yeah.
Bet that's where it is. I'm going straight court documents on these now, guys. So this is nothing that I'm saying here. Nothing in my own words here. The genital area had a pattern of abrasions or scraping of the skin consistent with fingernail marks. The entrance to the vaginal cavity was bruised, and there were internal injuries to both the vaginal and rectal areas. There were 2 perforations in the vaginal cavity. The first perforation extended into the rectal cavity. Think about that. This is fucking horrible. The second, it gets worse, Jimmy, so buckle up, everybody. This is terrible. The second perforation was to the right upper portion of the vaginal cavity and extended into the abdominal cavity. The perforation was caused by a can of hair mousse. Styling mousse to put in your hair. It was a can of mousse that was found half into her abdominal cavity, shoved inside of her.
Oh my God, it was still in there.
Yeah. You could see it from the outside. Yeah. No,
that's
from the stomach. That's how it was coming.
Oh, God.
It's fucking horrible. This is just awful. The rectum was torn. The bowel was perforated into the abdominal cavity. There was visible bleeding everywhere in here. All sorts of fucking blood. I'm not going to read the details of the blood. The injuries here appeared to happen before death as well. These injuries. This isn't post-mortem. They said the most probable cause of death was asphyxia or lack of oxygen due to strangulation and or suffocation. The injuries to the vaginal area as well as the rectal tear were a contributing factor, but were not life-threatening by themselves at the time she was strangled. They would have been later, obviously, but so this is somewhere the night of January 25th. Just absolutely fucking horrible. She's robbed as well. She also shaved off her pubic hair as well. He did. He shaved off her pubic hair as well because they found hair around.
Yeah.
They think he did that post-mortem.
What?
Why? What are you doing? I don't understand people's sick fucking minds sometimes, man. I was just reading a really detailed book on Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's like one of these things are like, what are you doing, man? What the fuck is your problem?
And the details are awful, but it's like you kind of have to know really the level of depravity that somebody went to in this. It's fucked, man.
You can't just say he brutalized this woman and did all this. But you need to know how sick. What the fuck are people thinking, or what?
That's
the psychology of it. It's messed up. By the way, quickly. No, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway. Okay. She, by the way, a real estate agent as well. Like we said, Heritage Real Estate in Anchorage is where she works here. So there, people there find out about it, freak out. Anyway, back to bad stuff here. After he encountered her, he proceeded to tie her to the bed. He beat and strangled her to death. And inserted, before she was even totally dead, he inserted the mousse can in there and then shaved off her pubic hair. And that's when he started stabbing little parts of the body. That's why they weren't more bloody, because she was already dead. So that's when he was just mutilating, carving a little here, cutting, just doing
fuck, man.
All sorts of weird shit. Then he stole her wedding ring and several items of clothing, including panties and a bra. So now we're getting into BTK territory here. Which is he dumped in the trash bin, and they found her body was found, like we said, by her daughter. This is crazy shit. So anyway, the evidence they have, how they know it's him, his palm print made in the fucking dead woman's blood was recovered from the wall in the hallway of her house. So just right on the wall. His fingerprints, which were found all over her house, and he didn't know her. His right footprint, which matched a footprint impression made in her blood on a T-shirt found on the floor of her condo, and results of DNA analysis of a glob of saliva found in the dead woman's bathtub. So he spit in the bathtub for some reason. That matched his DNA. Oh, and if that's not enough, a pubic hair found on a pillow in her condo that matched his pubic hair as well. It's a lot. There's no way to really refute that. Well, you can't, people will say, like, Stephen Avery, they planted the blood. OJ, they planted the blood. You can't plant a bloody handprint. He's there. Yeah. And a bloody footprint. He is in the fucking house, unless they took the drywall to him, blacked him out, put blood all over him, and put it on there, then reinstalled it. He's there. Period. So he's arrested February 2nd, 1993. He's arrested, being held on $500,000 bond. And, everyone's like, that nice guy? Because some of the people know him as the nicest guy in the world. Some of them know him as a, kind of a drug addict. And he's charged with 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault, robbery, kidnapping, and, of course, murder. So there's a lot here. That was a lot. Just to break away from that for 1 second, because the next thing is pretty rough, too. I have to say, right under this article about her being found, it's literally connected to it. Maui woman, the whole thing, sexual assault, all this shit, right underneath it. School menus for the week here.
Anybody hungry?
On Friday, you can choose between chef salad, subs, cheeseburgers, chicken noodle soup. And then you can have fries and green beans as well. There's chili and crackers in the Monroe Gregg schools, peanut butter sandwich and celery sticks, fruit and milk. So, there's that.
Everything you'd expect to be at a school, it's there. Just want you to know in the newspaper after we've told you about one of the worst things that's ever happened on this island. Wow.
I'm going to check what the menu is and read about a horrible murder. Okay. So the Maui Community Correctional Center here, Sergeant Herbert Aguilar, he said that when he first met Robert, when he came to the facility, he was dirty, very thin, had long hair. His eyes were always moving like he was trapped somewhere. He's injecting cocaine into his system. That's what happens.
Those are withdrawals.
Yeah. Aguilar said he was very leery of him, and his first impression was, quote, dirtbag.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Or shit for brains, you can pick, too. Maybe his dad was right. He just had... Yeah. Maybe his dad was just prescient. So... Then he said he started cleaning himself up. He got a haircut, started eating better. He's not doing drugs in jail. He's doing better because it's regular jail. It's not like prison. Aguilar then described him as a model inmate whom he said was never disrespectful to anybody. And Robert began working on his GED. Another Reverend Diane Winter, who's a ministerial counselor. Wow. Met him while conducting classes and counseling inmates at Maui Community's Correctional Center. He took classes with her, and she called him respectful, kind, and interested in learning. She perceived him as not genuine and not manipulative in class. She observed him with his girlfriend, Janice Hunt, because she was still visiting him for some fucking reason, and he was kind, respectful, and loving. She said that he cried sometimes while being very depressed. She said that he would break down and cry because he said he didn't remember what he'd done. He told her that if he did kill this woman, that he's a monster. And he also said, if I had done that, it's horrible and I shouldn't be allowed to live in society. And he would ask this woman to pray for that family and said, we'll pray together. And she said, we'd pray together and he'd cry.
If, James.
Yeah.
Your handprint is in blood, sir.
Yeah,
There's not,
sir.
there's not.
That's a crazy blackout, man. He took responsibility for his addiction, not the murder. He said that he did not offer drugs and alcohol as an excuse, is what he says now. Keep that in mind. That's what he says now. And he's respectful to everybody in jail. Gets his GED. He enjoys art and all that bullshit. So,
You give a fuck what he enjoys.
Great. The adult educator there said he had a great mind and was interested in reading at a much higher level than a GED and all this shit. Also called him a gifted writer. Gifted. He participates in NA and AA meetings while in custody and encourages others who were not in custody to stay sober. Also, could not guarantee that he would not be under the influence of drugs and alcohol, but he said, I take my sobriety one day at a time. He's saying all the right shit.
That's the right thing, yeah.
Let's find out how little it matters. So, the difference is after he's arrested in the Maui case, the Los Angeles, police start recognizing some really, really big similarities in a
crime scenes
in a 1986 murder that they have of Ms. Diebel. Remember her? Yeah. His girlfriend's mom. They said both the murders very close in signature. Yeah. We'll get into exactly how. Details of the actual women were extremely close. They were in a few years of age of each other. They were 10 years in age, but they were both, one was in her 50s, one was in her 60s. They're both realtors.
Oh.
And their initials are MED, both of these women. Both of these women's initials are MED. Both of them were tied with telephone cords, and both of them were sexually assaulted with cans of hair mousse. Very specific.
You went after mousse in the first one, too?
We'll talk about it. And strangled.
Oh, my.
Jim McNamara, ever heard of him?
No.
FBI guy, FBI profiler guy.
Have I heard of him?
I think maybe you have. He said that they look for details. That's how they're going to find signatures, just in case people don't know this. He says, we're criminal investigative analysts. We look for details. If someone has to stab a victim 45 times, that's a specific kind of ritualistic killing. It makes you a little overprotective of your family, but that's natural. Duh. So he joined the profiling unit at Quantico in 1995, but Robert is the one that got him into it here. He was based in the Honolulu office for 8 years. And he said that we deal with a lot of bizarre, unusual crime. A regular police officer might see a crime like that once in their career. We see it every day, week after week. They're called in on all the weird ones. So, he said there's a lot of misinformation about what we do. We wait in line and fly commercial, and all that other stuff is strictly Hollywood. So there's that. He says it does involve meticulous attention to detail, a lot of poring over crime scene photographs. He says it's as scientific a process as we can make it. With they have training in criminal psychology and all this shit. So
he's tense.
He said his interest. He's tense, yeah, and exactly what he is. Yeah. His interest in becoming a profiler started when in 1993 they found Muriel Delbecq. Mm-hmm. That was the one they said. He said that she'd been assaulted with everything and all that. Within 72 hours, they'd arrested Robert Mark Edwards. They called McNamara and filed, they had who was the field coordinator in Hawaii in the profiling unit. So they said the method of killing matched the profile of a sex murder committed in Orange County, California in 1986. The MED, and this guy said that all actually means something here. The fact that they're realtors named with MED is probably that's not a coincidence. There's something there. Yeah. There's something to that. And it's everything. The whole signature, the telephone cords, the hair mousse. It's fucking mousse. It's not like you got a different can of something.
Right. You didn't grab a can of fucking Pintos or something.
No.
You went to the bathroom and found the hair stuff.
The mousse. People have tons of cans of shit in their fucking bathroom. He said, oh, there's the mousse. Perfect. That's fucking crazy. McNamara said that was his signature. That was something he had to do to fulfill himself. These murders were not about killing. It's something that the killer does to satisfy himself sexually. He called these murders organized. They said he's an organized serial killer. There's only 2, not 3, which is the whatever. But he said he's a serial killer, and this is an organized serial killer.
We stopped him before 3. That's all.
That's all there is to. We don't know actually. Who the fuck knows what he's been doing?
As far as we know,
these years. As far as we know, they said they can. They can create intricate plans for their crimes and are obsessed about the details to meet a psychological need. He said, quote, "We don't deal with sane or insane. Those are legal definitions. We say abnormal behavior because killing women for sex is considered abnormal by society."
Sure.
Fair enough, I would say. He said disorganized murderers may have mental health problems and difficulty dealing with reality. In some cases, they find like vampirism or cannibalism. That's mainly a disorganized. Mm-hmm. So like Dahmer was organized but had to get drunk and disorganized when he did the crime. So it's like he was a mixed bag. So they said that they studied the similarities between these 2 murders, and Deputy District Attorney David L. Brent in Orange County said this is a tale of 2 crime scenes. Yeah. Let's hear about this one. Marjorie Elaine Diebel, 55, his ex-girlfriend's mother. She has Catherine, the daughter that he went out with, and 2 sons, Scott and Stephen. And she's divorced, is a real estate agent. She's been doing that for about 7 years. So she's doing great and very active. She's in a civic organization for professional women. She's in the Church of Religious Science, not Scientology, I don't think, as well as other organizations. She was described as a home economist, adding that she believed that Diebel taught home economics at one time, so at Cal State Long Beach or a local community college.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she was a teacher.
Yeah.
At some point, she got divorced, and I feel like that's probably when the real estate started, because that's she's described as small and attractive, a small, attractive, kind woman, very nice.
A real estate agent.
Real estate agent, exactly. Yeah. Big smile, photogenic for that thing hanging in the yard. So on Monday, May 12th, Diebel, the deceased woman here, mentioned that she was to her boss that she was leaving for an appointment scheduled for about 5 p.m., and the boss said, though, she never arrived at the appointment, and she never saw her again. That was that. Diebel did not contact her boss the next day, or the next day.
3 days?
Yeah. She said Diebel was one of her top agents and was the most active agent in the entire office. So this woman waits 4 days to call the cops.
To call the cops for the most busy and active person in my office.
Yeah. She said this was really weird because during this time period, the real estate market was hot.
Yeah.
So, now Catherine Valentine, Robert's ex-girlfriend, saw her mother for the last time on the morning of Monday, May 12th, between 7 and 7:30 a.m. She called her several times between Monday and Thursday of that week and left messages on her answering machine but never spoke with her, which was also common because she's so busy.
Right.
So they would play phone tag back and Diebel would at times leave an apartment key out in a drain pipe in front of the apartment. And now Catherine says that she thinks that Robert knew it was there. She thinks he knew about it. She thinks maybe she saw her getting it at one point. She also says that she also told Robert that you could access the apartment by going through a screen window in the back. She's, I got locked out one time. I had to go over there. He'd been inside on at least 2 occasions, like we said. Now, when Catherine met him, his leg was in a cast. But during the week of May 11th, the day before, he got his cast taken off.
Okay.
So he was no longer in his cast. He could move around, but with a limp, but he could still move pretty fast. If you want to, you can fucking make something work. You know what I mean? So she said, Valentine said she generally parked her truck in her driveway, positioning the truck so it was either before or beyond some juniper bushes so she didn't have to open the door into the bush and step into them. So makes sense. She said that on the night of May 12th, she parked her truck before the juniper bushes. The following morning, she had to climb into the bushes to get into her truck.
Oh, it was moved.
So, yeah, she said someone moved the truck. She said she had not given, Robert permission to use the truck the night before, but who knows? So she doesn't, write her fucking mileage down every night.
Yeah.
Maybe you should. Your car could be used in all sorts of murders. You don't know.
You're dating a scumbag.
You don't know, man. You don't know anything. So Thursday, May 15th, 1986, she hadn't appeared for work. Her friends, they finally called police to do a welfare check. The officers arrived, and they said the front door was, quote, slightly open. Mm-hmm. So someone just needed to go check. That's all it was. Someone just needed to walk up to the apartment. They said no sign of forced entry, and they said they were trying to find out if anything was missing. The front screen door was closed but unlocked, and the wooden front door was open approximately 4 inches. So no sign of forced entry. The screen from a window next to the door had been removed and was leaning against the building. So inside the house, loud music was playing. I wish I knew what, but loud music was. Maybe it's Judas Priest. I don't know.
It's probably, yeah.
It's Priest, yeah.
You
loud music. You got another. So loud music playing, and she was lying face down on the floor between the bed and the dresser. She's wearing a long nightgown that had been pushed up around her waist, no underwear. So the bottom of the nightgown had either been cut or ripped. So he just cut it off and then pushed the rest up, which is really, that means he gets off on cutting it off, because she could have just pushed it up like he did with the rest of it.
The destruction of this, it's the fear.
Well, they found, they found Muriel's clothes cut too in the dumpster. So he likes to cut the clothes off. That makes him feel good. Yeah, this is part of his sick shit that he likes. This is fucking creepy, man. She's lying face down, wearing nothing, like I said, been cut or ripped. Her hands were still tied behind her back with material from the nightgown and with a torn telephone cord as well.
So he didn't even bring it.
He didn't even bring it. That's the weird part, too. He didn't BTK had a kit.
Right.
He had a hit kit he brought with him that had certain clotheslines, certain plastic nylon cords, different lengths, different thicknesses. Like he had a whole, like a tackle box he had of shit. Debbie's neck was in a noose made from a thin belt. The end of the belt was tied to the top drawer handle of the dresser so that her neck was suspended about 8 inches above the floor.
Oh, my.
He left her hanging like that, like fucking D'Angelo Barksdale in the prison library. The drawer was open about 6 to 8 inches. Blood had run out of her left ear and mouth, and there's blood around her nose. There's 2 wounds on her neck, one underneath the belt and one just below. Her left leg was bent and leaning against the bed. Her right leg was fully extended and underneath the bed. Inside, on her thigh, they found a stain they believed to be dried semen as well. She's her ankles bore marks that looked like ligature marks to everybody as well. A cylindrical mousse can found in a bed covering on top of the bed. The substance underneath the ridge around the top of the can was blood, and gave a positive response for blood, and it was found out to be, they found the cap on the ground next to Diebel. That's the one that could fit the mousse can. So, another substance appeared to be blood observed just inside the opening of the cap. And, on the floor. So, again, with the mousse can, they found out that's what happened, as we'll talk about. On the floor, a pillowcase, a dress, and a scarf were wrapped together with adhesive tape. That's weird. It's fucking weird, man. The dress was bloodstained. The pillowcase was also bloodstained. It was tied to resemble a hood and appeared to have been cut with with shears.
What the fuck?
He made like an art project.
Yeah, he's
with it.
He's gonna make like a Christmas snowflake out of it all.
He's what's it called? He's serial killers. They serial killers. They stage. He's staging, like a real estate agent or a serial killer.
Put this over here.
They both stage
over here.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm going to set this up. I made a nice little project. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Put that there.
That's a bunch of weird shit to tape together, though.
Yeah, it's very strange. More blood was inside the pillowcase than was on the outside. A sheet was found on the floor. A strip approximately 66 inches long and 15 inches wide had been cut and torn from the left side of the sheet. The irregular cutting was possibly made with the use of the shears. A telephone cord and an electrical cord were found tied together on either the floor or the bed. They didn't know. So the bedroom ransacked. Garments were all over the room. Items were knocked over. Dresser drawers were open. Contents of the purse strewn about the floor. Telephone that appeared to have its cord ripped off the wall was just sitting there against the wall. It's a mess. The autopsy here, she had bruises in her vaginal area, especially in the front part of it. So there was also bruising and tearing just inside the opening of the vagina, and a tear and hemorrhaging of the bottom of the opening of the vagina too. It's consistent with having a fucking can of mousse.
Yeah,
God damn it. On one slide, the doctor noted an underlying submucosal hemorrhage, and they also said the lining of the vaginal walls means it came from there, is what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Jesus Christ, they said that the dilation. Oh no. Also, right from the court document, Diebel's anus was dilated and bruising and small mucosal lacerations were observed just inside the anus. The Dr. Fukumoto opined that the dilation of the anus could have been caused by any number of objects, basically, is what he said. So he said this would have been obviously especially painful, everything that was going on here. They thought the injuries to the vaginal and rectal areas were also inflicted before death. So that sounds familiar. There was bleeding in the tissues near the tail of her pancreas. They noted that the pancreas is an organ located deep within the body and requires a tremendous amount of localized, blunt force to the area to damage the pancreas. You never hear people with I got a bruised pancreas.
Right.
You either your pancreas is fine or you have pancreatic cancer and you die in a month. That's the only two things that happen with a fucking pancreas. So they have pancreatitis, but it's not from punching it. In the stomach area, they also observed food that had been untouched by digestion and said that such a finding would indicate that she died within an hour after eating. So it sounds like she was on her way to appointment. She stopped home probably to grab a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Stopped home, grabbed a bite to eat, and got fucking overcome by this shit. Blood was coming out of her left ear, like we said. There was extensive hemorrhaging in the middle ears, which extended from the middle ear into the bone of the skull. The right eardrum was torn, and the left eardrum had a break that, according to the autopsy report, was incisional, not from a hit or a slap in the ear. He said an incision to he said it's not a tear, it's something that's caused by a sharp instrument or an instrument that has a point. He's stabbing her in the ear. That is crazy. He said that if the eardrums are torn associated with massive bleeding in the middle ears, that could also be due to a massive increase in pressure as a result of the struggle that they had to get a breath. She had to get a breath while being strangled. He also said that the amount of pressure that would tear an eardrum and the infliction of an incisional injury to an eardrum would in each case be extremely painful. So either way, they said definitely strangled. The whites of her eyes had conjunctival hemorrhaging, which is bleeding. Just say fucking bleeding. There's abraded lacerations in the left chin area, a crescent in the bridge of the nose that was consistent with fracturing the bridge of the nose. This is fucking horrible, man. This is just goddamn horrible. They said that blunt force trauma to injuries above the neck, a deep furrow created by the ligature around her neck. Fuck, man, which was...
This is his girlfriend's mom.
That was nothing but nice to him for no reason. And so is she. They're both nice to him. They said that with strangling, it takes a long time to die, obviously. And so this is especially heinous. And they said that they also observed baggies of pills on the dresser and on the floor of her bedroom. So they don't know what that was about. They entered the room and found a TV guide that was open to Monday, May 12th. So she was looking at what was on TV later. That's all. They also observed the shears on the floor, and they did not observe cigarette butts in the apartment like the one in Maui. That's the only difference. None of the fingerprints lifted from her apartment matched him, though. That's the thing. So I don't know what the deal is, if he wore gloves this time or what. And the next time he was too drunk. I'm not sure what the fuck happened. But
blackout.
Richard Brown, who's a criminalist with the Sheriff's Crime Lab in Orange County, said that the pubic hair found in the scene, the reason the pubic hair eliminated him as a source of the pubic hair found at the crime scene. That was the thing. But that doesn't mean that that's not him. because it was in 86. So they just did, the hairs are different. That was it. They said, they said they were unable to compare the crime scene hair to that of 7 other defendants because the hair strands submitted for those individuals contained too few hairs to make a comparison. So the investigation there, the Sergeant James Jessen of the Los Alamitos Police Department, he was the lead investigator. He interviewed first Catherine Valentine, the daughter, and she said she thinks that that Robert borrowed her truck for a short period of time that night, and that's how they started talking to Robert about it at all. Now, co-workers said everyone was devastated by Diebel being murdered here. They said we were in the process. Oh my God, she was sales agent of the month that month.
Wow.
And they were in the process of writing a press release for it, saying, to congratulate her for it when they heard that she was killed. So that is fucking brutal. She was really nice to her customers. Somebody had moved into a house and they had a yard, and she said, let's have a barbecue, but the people didn't have a barbecue. So she brought them a barbecue and set it up and cooked for them and shit. She's known as this amazingly nice person.
You know, my real estate agent got me a fucking key. That's it.
There you go, fucker. 55 years old she is. And in the paper it says, and I quote, Los Alamitos police say they are investigating the questionable death of an elderly woman. She's 55. She's not elderly at all.
There's nothing questionable about this. This is a straight-up murder.
They didn't want to release that part to the public yet, so they would know. But fucking 55. She's the agent of the month. She's active as shit. What are you talking about? Elderly.
She's crushing it.
My God. Now, one of the first people who they actually were investigating was a guy named Paul Roy. He was her ex-boyfriend, Paul Roy. He said on May 12th or 13th, Roy called her at her home at 8:20. And then 1 or 2 days later, he went to the apartment and knocked on the door. When no one answered, he put a greeting card for her between the screen door and the closed wooden door, he said. He said the door was closed when they found that it was fucking open. So it must have been the 12th, and it must have been before this happened. He didn't recall a window screen leaning up against the wall of the house at that point, he said. So,
fine.
Yeah, the only possible way, and I don't think this is what happened, I'm just saying crazy shit, that our guy here, Robert, didn't do this, is if this guy did it, and then Robert read the report and went, a mousse can, good idea, and then put that in his pocket for later, which is highly unlikely, that they both have the same sick, weird thing that they need. So, she said that she was always very careful, locked the doors to her apartment. Another guy, Leonard Hirsch, dated Diebel as well on a regular basis. Wow, this elderly lady's really living a life. 55, she's elderly. That's amazing. That is fucking funny. So so you could say
what year was this though?
80, no, this was 93. No, this is 86. 86 she was found. So still elderly.
Yeah, I would call them that. They were in their 50s.
I mean, if you're 7, they're elderly, but if you're writing for a newspaper, probably not.
In their 30s, 55 is not elderly.
Yeah. Alden Olson testified later that he dated Marjorie as well here during the 8 weeks before her death. So that's the most current boyfriend. He saw her do laundry, including her sheets, 3 or 4 times, said that she always locked her doors, everything like that. Leonard Hirsch said the same thing. Her sheets were fresh and clean, not dirty, and all that shit. So she washed her sheets a lot. The Avon lady, Vivian Camp, went to Diebel's home on Thursday, May 15th between 11 a.m. and 11:15. She said the door was open about a foot. She could see inside, didn't notice a screen off the window that was facing the walkway, but wasn't really looking for it either, so who knows. So, Robert Edwards here. They meet with Robert in 86, and the investigator observed that he walked with a noticeable limp and appeared to have difficulty standing on his right leg for a long period of time. So they said that they spoke about elimination prints, and they said they were dissatisfied. They didn't match prints, but in the end, the lab people said they were dissatisfied with the quality of the prints that the cops took from the suspects. Mm-hmm. So they said, we couldn't match it anyway because you fucked up on the print. So that's how that happened.
Of the evidence is all shit.
Yes, and they also found out that, yes, Judas Priest did perform at the Los Angeles Sports Arena on May 12th between 8 and 11 p.m., so that's a fact. So back to Hawaii there. He's got a girlfriend being held. Naomi Lindemann, the one who got attacked with a wine bottle, is being held as a potential witness because they want her for the California case, so they're literally holding her as a witness, which is fucking crazy. She said that she always had knowledge of Edward's sexual perversions. He liked to choke her a lot and stuff like that against her will, during sex. So his Hawaiian trial quickly here. Lynn Penzick, who's a retired school teacher, said she began to correspond with Robert when he was incarcerated there. She said after several months, he asked her to visit and they became friends. Once while he's going to be on trial later on, he refused to visit with her. He refused to visit, and he wrote to her, quote, "Remember the trial when it was the most brutal, horrible testimony? You came up that weekend and I refused your visit. Do you know why I did that? I did it because I was utterly appalled by what they had shown in court and that I was responsible for it. And I hated myself and I felt like you certainly must hate me. I was ashamed and did not want to face you." So, he's got blood, fucking footprints, handprints, DNA, pubic hair. Unless he left a business card on her fucking coffee table, he couldn't have made it.
It's too much.
He couldn't have made it more obvious. So he's convicted of everything. Mm-hmm. And the judge, by the way, says, this is Maui Circuit Judge Boyd Mossman, says that he, quote, "doesn't deserve to be called a human being," said that he tortured painful, unjustified death of this woman and called him a, quote, "raving maniacal animal." You, sir, may fuck off. Yeah. 5 consecutive life terms for him.
5? You can do that?
5, but he could still get out on parole the way it works, so you never know. They also ordered him to pay $29,600 in restitution to the family and fined him $275,000, quote, "just in case you live long enough to make that much money," the judge said.
Just for funsies.
Just for fun. If you get out, you will be penniless on the street, by the way. You're never going to have a good life, I'm deciding, which is he doesn't deserve it. So the California trial, he's charged with special allegations that occurred, this occurred during a burglary and it involved torture. That means the death penalty's on the table here.
Is that right?
And the office of the Orange County prosecutor office said they are going for the death penalty, quote, because he killed 2 people because he brutally tortured 2 victims. Yes. Fair enough. So, they bring him in here. They first have to talk about whether they can discuss the Hawaiian conviction or not in detail.
Yeah,
they can say he's convicted, but can they say moose can?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what they're wondering. The prosecutor, basically, he can present the evidence, but he can't present it as fucking fact. Basically, he says that the jurors cannot be told of Edward's conviction in the Hawaiian case. So he can't say he was convicted of it. The prosecutor essentially must present evidence as if he were trying both murder cases at once. So you can't say he's convicted for it, but you can say, here's the photos from that scene, here's the photo from this scene. Here's wrist, here's bag of goodies, moose can, fucking make your whatever.
But in that, wouldn't you have to say he did that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But he's saying he's treating it like he's still awaiting trial on that one too, basically. Right. That's what they're doing. So that's how kind of the mindset to look at it like. So they called it a tale of 2 crime scenes, like I said. In the opening, the prosecutor explained they were beaten, mutilated, strangled. Both had been sexually assaulted with cans of mousse, which the prosecution also said represented a signature work, which is totally true. In the opening statements here, they said that Edwards has, later on, his defense attorney will say, Edwards has a dark side which is only released when he is under the extreme domination of alcohol. So defense attorneys contended the murder scenes were radically different, including the manner in which they were strangled.
Yeah. One's in Long Beach, one's in Hawaii. That's the difference.
Yeah. Well, strangling methods actually do progress with people. BTK did it, Dominic. All these guys did it because manual strangulation's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like BTK said his hands were hurt. He was like, oh my God, he couldn't like move his hands afterwards. Like it's hard. So if you manually strangle somebody once or you use something not that strong, you're going to go, hey, next time I'll use a belt or whatever the fuck your sick shit is. So anyway, they said there was also no physical evidence in the L.A. case, such as fingerprints linking him to the crime. And they said that Diebel was strangled with a belt rigged to a dresser while Delbeck was strangled by hand. That's what they said. So he did the opposite. He strangled with the belt first and then strangled by hand later, which would make sense if you're shit-faced and on coke. You just grab someone and squeeze them. So Naomi Lindemann testified that he once tried to rape her with a wine bottle and occasionally tried to choke her during sex. There was objections and all that shit over it. Catherine Valentine, obviously the daughter, testified regarding the friendship with her mother that she lost, and she said she felt guilt for bringing this guy even into the family. Sure. And, they also had her testify about missing jewelry and stuff like that. The Diebel's daughter and sister took the stand. Her older sister said, I've spent a lot of time in pain. There's a helpless feeling of not being able to do anything and of missing her terribly. I miss her visits, her letters, her get-togethers. We're a close family. So, And now the daughter, who dated him, said, I'm afraid to be alone. I wake up in the middle of the night crying because I want my mother. Oh. I'm afraid. I'm looking over my shoulder all the time. That's fucking horrible, man. That is horrible. She said, since her death, all 4 of the grandchildren have been born. 4 grandchildren that she never saw, she said. So that's horrible here. Now, the prosecution ticks off all the ways that there, isn't differences, basically. Delbeck, by the way, had bite marks on her body as well.
Oh, God.
Whereas Diebel doesn't have bite marks, which on the later one, he might be into biting now. It's been fucking 7 years. Maybe he got into biting in that time. There's a defense pathologist who says that he testified and says that according to him, he talks about blood hemorrhaging. He's out of the ears. He said it's a common finding after ligature strangulation because the blood vessels in the ears are engorged and the eardrums are perforated and bleed. So he said that's what he thinks it is. And he also talks about her being they talk about how much time there would be between strangles. They said like they could lose consciousness within 15 to 30 seconds, and it takes about 4 minutes of lack of oxygen for the heart and respiratory center to die. So that's what he was saying. So they said they also said that a possible fracture was more likely from a blow rather than a fall in the neck area, and the blow to the head of sufficient force to break the nose and cause immediate unconsciousness. Because remember, she had a big crease in her fucking bridge of her nose. So it's fucking. This doctor for the defense had the balls to say that a laceration and a hemorrhage can be microscopic in size. He described the injuries to Diebel's vagina and rectum as, quote, extremely minor. Wow, let's stick something up your ass and see how fucking minor that is. Hold on a second. Wait, let me style my hair first. Now, come here a minute, you fucking asshole. Let me jam this up your ass and you tell me how minor it is.
Minor.
Wow. That is fucking wild. Boy. He also explained that
foreign it's
he even had the balls to say because she was menopausal, that would mean that the lining of the vaginal wall was thinner than it should be at the time, than normal. So any kind of manipulation by even a finger or a penis, just blood's going to shoot out of there. So if you have sex with a menopausal woman, she'll just be fucking. She'll be a geyser when you're done. You can't. What are you talking about? Fuck me, man.
How old's his wife?
They also brought in a drug guy, a doctor, to talk about his drug addictions. Okay. And he said genetics are the worst indicator, or the best indicator of your, future alcoholism. Right. Yeah, proclivities. And he said child abuse is the second most. So those are the prevalent risk factors for that. They said that hypothetical risk factors of genetic background, horrible childhood abuse, lack of supervision, and an environment which drugs were available. This doctor said, quote, I frankly don't see how he escaped being an addict. This fellow didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have to fucking Didn't have to fucking kill anybody, though. So, wow. The prosecution closing here. Also, they said if you use cocaine, an individual who uses alcohol with cocaine is, quote, far, far, far more likely to go into an alcoholic blackout. So they said they said if he was shooting cocaine, that's what the doctor says. Who the fuck knows? So the prosecutor, during his lengthy closing argument, he said, quote, he makes a mockery of our justice system by saying, I don't remember.
That's true.
Oh, man. So the verdict comes in here, and they find him guilty, obviously, of killing her. The mousse can is too much. It's just too much. You can't get past that.
There's nobody else doing that, bud. You're the original.
Real estate, MED, mousse can. Sorry, Chief. You're out. That's too much. 1, 2, 3, strike fucking 3.
And the guy that did one did the other, and your hands in blood. We know you did one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We know about that shit for sure. For sure.
And then the other one is your girlfriend's mom. It was you.
Yeah, probably you, Chief. And you stole the car that night, too, dickhead. So he brought up 30 character witnesses on behalf of him.
Oh, boy.
One of his his lawyer outside the court said, quote, he's not a sociopath. He has things. No, he's a psychopath. There's a difference. He has things going for him in life. He's not the type of person who needs to be executed. He's a good father to his son. He wants to live for his son, who is the light of his life. The last thing he knows is that he used heavy drugs and alcohol and then stayed home. That was the last thing he remembers. So that's it. They also had people up saying his devotion to his now 11-year-old son is huge, and we can't kill him. He needs a drug and alcohol impairment.
If that's what you do when you get drunk and high, I don't want you on the street.
Yeah, where you can get drunk and high.
Even if that was something that was a pass and we could just be like, all right, yeah, you're right. We'll forgive you.
No shit. He says the defense attorney, shouldn't the death penalty be reserved for someone with no redeeming qualities? If Rob Edwards dies of execution, a little of us will perish with him.
Is that right?
Whoa. There's no need to execute Rob Edwards. The only valid argument to execute him is vengeance, he says. He also says if you send him to prison, he'll be a model prisoner. Model prisoner. He says that he helps and his son actually said he helps him with problems, and he talks to his dad all the time and gives him, advice. And then his lawyer says, Edwards is a very special person in a lot of ways. He has touched a lot of people. Don't put it like that.
Hey, boy.
Don't put a rapist. Don't say a rapist has touched a lot of people, please. Thank you.
Should we look more?
Jesus, we were hopeful that the jury would see that. We hope they put more weight on the factors of mitigation than the other factors. So let's see what happens here. Oh my God. So they said one doctor said that he's a remarkable parent because of his unflagging devotion. That man put me to work for his son, and I barely got a break. So he's just all about it. The prosecution here, they bring up the family to tell how horrible everything is and how they're afraid to be alone at night. They have Dr. Park Dietz involved in this shit.
I love him.
He's amazing, talking about blackouts and things like that. Dietz, he kind of just muddies it up a little bit. He says it doesn't tell us about anything about his mental state at the time of the homicides, except he was drunk. Looking at what happened in each homicide, it shows that if intoxicated, he wasn't too intoxicated to engage in a very orderly sequence of complicated behaviors. These include things done to gain access to each victim, to do things to the victims and their property, and leave the scene. The blackout does not affect his mental state while perpetuating the acts. Anyway, he talks about he agreed with the prosecutor, saying the blackout simply means that short-term memory has not been recorded into long-term memory. He said, as he is committing homicides, he's behaving intentionally and voluntarily. He knows where he is. He knows what he's doing. He knows who he's with. He knows why he's engaging in the actions, what he wants to do. He knows all of it. It's just you don't remember it afterwards.
Right.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean that you didn't know it while it was happening, is what he's saying. It's not a trance where your eyes are rolled into the back of your head and you're like sleepwalking around murdering people. That's not what it is. So, he said at the moment he knows what he's doing is wrong and he's trying to hide it from the outside world, is what he says. So, obviously, they said He describes everything about the two murders, the prosecutor, and he says, quote, it tells you about his character, and it's not good. He says, this is a monster, the prosecutor does. Quote, this is a monster. It's hard to think of anyone who deserves the death penalty more than he does. It's hard for me to understand. And then Edwards said, when pleading for his life here, he said, it's hard for me to understand that I could do something so horrible. Now, the first sentencing hearing had a mistrial.
Really?
9-3 deadlocked, majority favoring execution. So that was that. So they get a new sentencing hearing. You, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty this time. So he gets the death penalty. Yeah, he's pretty upset about that.
Why, though? I mean...
He gets to jail and he says that he didn't remember doing any of the things that they said he did. But if he did, he should be punished accordingly. And he said that he has no recollection, but he felt horrible, and he's been fasting and meditating and praying on the dates of the murders and praying for the families. Once he gets into prison and he's sober, he's a nice guy again, too. It's fucking crazy. Dominic Bagarazzi, okay? Baccarazzi, he says that he met them while they were both in the Orange County Jail in August 1994. This guy agreed with, he said that Bagarazzi, he was a bad guy who had given up and he had a drug problem and all that. But the two of them, him and Robert, were day room partners in administrative segregation. And he said that knowing Robert made Bagarazzi a better person and changed his outlook on life. He had been a child actor, he said, and he wanted to return to that profession, but didn't think he could. He said that Robert told him he could do any damn thing he set his mind to. And while he could be a convict and stay in prison for the rest of his life, it would be more of a challenge to try to achieve my goals. So he got out of jail, and he's actually got a bunch of shit here. His mother said that this guy changed her son's life. He got a job on Ally McBeal. He had like a bit role there. He did a television pilot with Sam Elliott. He got a commercial. I found his IMDb. He's in like 21 shitty movies from 2013 to 2021. This guy.
I wish you'd have met Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah. They're all like a lot of smaller roles, but like he's been working steadily. It's fucking crazy. So, yeah. Wow. September of 1996, he was written up for heroin use in Orange County Jail.
What?
Robert was. Had a little relapse in jail.
When was that?
96, right before he was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Basically. 1997, the sheriff's deputy, Matthew Johnson, testified that he worked at jail while Robert was there. He wrote Robert up once for possession of contraband, which consisted of extra clothing and pictures on the wall. He said otherwise, he observed jail rules and was respectful and everything else like that. Another, Robert Morris, a sergeant at the correctional center in Maui, said that he was a model inmate when he was there. Never gave anybody any problems, had no write-ups. Wish I had a million like him.
Fascinating.
So, Robert did say at times he feared for his life in jail. I guess there were racial tensions in 1997. So he was caught trying to make a shank in 1997 because there was some, I guess, rioting going on and some people getting. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this question, Jimmy. How hard do you think it is to find reliable roofers who are honest?
Oh, my God.
Roofers,
it is
a lot.
Really hard.
This is how hard it is, okay? Remember the guy who hired him as a roofer for Dotto or whatever and said what a great guy he was? This is how good of an employee he was. He said that, quote, despite Robert's 2 murder convictions, he would hire him again in a second if he had the opportunity. I'm not a 60-year-old real estate
James.
Yeah. I'm not a 60-year-old real estate agent. He's not going to stick a can of mousse in me. Holy.
You ever seen a roofing project? Very few cans of mousse up there.
Very few. It'll melt out of your head if it's even in your hair. You can't have it on there.
Holy shit.
Roofers don't own mousse usually, I don't think. So now he appeals the whole deal here. He appeals everything, the California one mainly. He says that talking about the other case was too prejudicial. So there's a 143-page ruling on this. I'm not going to read that, obviously. I'm going to give you about fucking 3 sentences out of it. But They said that that the trial court was aware of the evidence about the crime in Hawaii. There was numerous similarities, so it should be fine. Once again, they say the most notably hair mousse cans of similar diameter and length were present at both crime scenes, and there was evidence both victims had been sexually penetrated by the mousse cans. So a California judge ruling noted that Supreme Court ruling noted that the judge had excluded evidence that the two women shared the same three initials and were both real estate agents. Didn't tell him that. Those are little things that people would have went, okay, the moose, whatever, but then that all three of them together, sorry, you're fucked, mister. Yeah. Like we said, strike one, strike two, strike three. Also, Del Beck did not engage in that occupation while she was visiting Hawaii, and there was no evidence that he knew about her job in Alaska. Maybe it was just a coincidence. He was charged there. What do we see here? Oh, in a separate 10-page ruling, they wrote that one judge wrote that she would reverse one of the special circumstances involving torture. They said that it was prejudicial when a pathologist called to testify during the trial relayed to the jury observations of the non-testifying autopsy pathologist, because he said our findings are this and this, and they said, well, they didn't bring that person in to say it. So I'd reverse the special circumstance on it and throw out the death penalty. So two of them noted how ample evidence, aside from the pathologist's testimony, supported the murder charge and other special circumstance allegation against Edwards. You, sir, may keep fucking off and stay there forever because he's still there. So there you go.
Without now? Is that what it is?
I think he's still got death. I don't think they changed it. So I think he's still got death. They just haven't executed anyone in California, forever. So
he's still there.
But he's on death row.
Boy, oh boy.
And well-deserved. He's a fucking asshole.
That's an awful man.
And he's a scary person.
And his dad did that to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. We get that, you weren't born like that and your dad did this to you, but at this point now it's our problem, so you got to fuck off and, we don't care anymore.
Yeah.
We cared until you hurt somebody, and now it's like, well, now we're out now. You stuck a can of mousse in a stranger, so sorry. We're
twice.
No, not playing that shit anymore. Yeah. No. And who knows, too? I thought about this. If he lived in Hawaii, the Hawaiian murder, because they were like, how do we even know he knew her?
Right.
If she walked to the beach the same route every morning in her bathing suit and all that, they lived in the same neighborhood. Who's to say he didn't run into her walking around, or he didn't go for a walk in the morning?
See her.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I mean. Who's to say he didn't go for a walk in the morning and, oh, hey, how you doing? And get to know her a little bit. And, even a 5-minute conversation, you'd find out she's here from Alaska.
Right. What do you do? That comes up right away.
Right. Well, I'm a real estate agent up in Alaska, taking it easy here for a bit. It's ridiculous. So either way, he's in there, and luckily, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So good for him. That's a horrible fucking murder.
Yeah.
That was
aloha, sir.
Oof. Mahalo, Mr. fucking gross. Edwards. So that's gross. If you are completely grossed out by that, give us 5 stars. Why don't you go review the show on an app and say they're the best grossest people on earth? I don't know. Just whatever you say, it helps us out. So thank you. Whatever app you're listening on, give us 5 stars. That helps a lot. So thanks for doing that, everybody. Also, social media. You can follow us at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Definitely head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Immediately. I mean, if you're listening to this, you can get the virtual live show unless you're listening unless you're listening the minute it comes out. The virtual live show's coming. You buy your tickets right now, Thursday night, February 10th, available for 72 hours afterwards to purchase or watch or do whatever with. Don't feel bad if you miss it. Oh, shit, I forgot on Thursday night. Well, buy it on Friday. You're good to go.
Yeah.
It's there. It's going to be bumping. I'm telling you. Fun shit. We're going to have a lot of fun. Shutupandgivememurder.com or momenthouse.com/smalltownmurder. One or the other. It's the same ticket. So
there it is.
Same deal. And we can't wait to see everybody out there and doing that. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of the amazing extra bonus material. And by the way, our bonuses aren't like 10 minutes long. They're like at least an hour 15 an hour. They're good. They're a good length.
You'll get almost 3 hours worth of extra shit in a week.
Absolutely. And it's funny shit. This week, no exception. This week we have for Crime and Sports. And by the way, even though you're listening to Small Town Murder and you'd sign up for that, you'll get access to all the Crime and Sports ones too. So you'll get access to everything. And most of them aren't about, we're not going to talk about somebody's basketball season. We don't have time for that. So we're going to talk about crazy shit. Yeah. This week, we talked about an imposter case where a guy graduated. He's a college football player, mediocre, graduated. He was done. And then when he was 30, he said, I'm better, much better physically now. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I bet I could dominate teenagers. So he changed his identity and went to a major, huge college program, like a huge program, and fucking enrolled, and they didn't even check on it. It's crazy.
Listen to see how he did.
Listen to see what happened. And then for Small Town Murder, this was one of our favorites because it was just so goddamn funny. We talked about the beginnings of the town of Deadwood, South Dakota, which is a world famous lawless. It's where Wild Bill Hickok got shot. The
HBO
Aces and Eights.
HBO did a whole show about it.
Yeah, the Dead Man's Hand, that came from this goddamn place. And it's literally a lawless gold prospecting camp in the Old West. It's fucking insane. And we're going to talk about all the crazy shit that goes on in the streets there, right out of the old newspapers from 1876, 7, 8. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can hear about your favorite Deadwood characters, what they did in real life. I tried to put a little of everybody in there, too, to sprinkle it through it. And then we talked about all the other stuff. So much fun. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you're going to get a shout out, which we're going to do in just a moment here. Jimmie will mispronounce your name terribly while trying his best to pronounce it properly. Yeah. So there is that. And if you also just want to get your name heard, if you recognize it, good luck. You can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com as well. I think it's time, Jimmie. I need to be showered with affection. Hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever, ever assault us with hairstyling products. Jimmie, hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Jordan Bennett, Jeanette Bell. Gary Friedman lost his mom.
Oh, I saw that. Sorry, Gary.
Jesus
Sorry
Christ.
about that, man. That sucks.
This world fucking sucks.
Absolutely.
Jenny Craig wants us to tell Deanna Grimes happy birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Deanna. Matthew Webster also is executive producer. Thank you guys so much for what you do for us.
Thank you.
It's truly
really
remarkable. And
thank you so much.
You're doing this. Thank you. Other producers this week are Corporal Carl Kirshner, James Martyr, Shelby Kluver, happy birthday, Razan Rabadi, Tara Hopkins, Peyton Meadows, Kristen Blosser, happy birthday, Kelly Higby. It's a Leica Dwyer. I don't know what that is, if that's really a person's name.
Okay, well, maybe.
Samantha, No Body, No Crime. Quigley, Robert Shabley, Attack Macaque. Oh, boy. Happy Hour in Marrero, Louisiana. David Mister, happy birthday. Carly Gervais, Travis Roberts, happy birthday. Frank, the South African birdwasher, is in again. Bethany Ray, Steve Schnell, Janice Hill, Holly Tyler, Jess Campanello, Coco the Magnificent on Instagram.
Sounds
Tony
like a wrestler.
Simpson.
I love it.
It's her dog, I think.
Oh, even better.
Tony Simpson in Scotland. Pavlos Basivius, I think. Povilas. No. Pavlos?
Those are very different, Jimmie.
Is it Povilas?
I don't know.
Well, let them decide. Leslie Blaze, Eric Brown, Angel Durrani, Julian. Yeah. Grado, Joshua Christia.
I love when you ask me. I'm 5 feet away. I can't help you. You're...
Cody Ann Nelson, Rebel 24/7, Kenya. What is this? Kenya Fullwood, I guess. Jenny Talcott. Sophia Banta, Dave with no last name, Tony Powell, Raphael Leonardo. How do you get 2 Ninja Turtle names?
That's awesome.
That's badass.
Raphael Donatello Leonardo is his full name.
Michelangelo. LeBron Burrows. Brian. Get 2 middle names. You could wrap that up. Brian Christie. Nick Brunette. Helena. Flabbergaster with no last name. Flabbergast, not Flabbygaster. What? Tab with no last name. Audrey Kennedy. Nikita Richardson. Skylar Goldsby. Mike McCafferty. Jennifer Peterson. Brad Montgomery. Kendra Mullen. Amelia with no last name. Seth Kelly. Dorian Brown. Dylan Bertram, Claudia Herbst, Paul, Musalami, Jay Newton, Sarah Jones, Melissa Lang, David Johnson, Mariah Ann, Francis Keefe, kick-ass last name.
Love it.
Jeff Beckman, Miguel Moreno, Paige Salter, Damian Ivory, Amber with no last name, Andrew Cheadle, Austin Burke, Bella Hatmaker, Sarah Cameron, E to the G, Tanya Olson, Low Glass, Jessica Murphy, Shane Williams, Carrie Gusso, Wynn Moore, Sylvie Danko, Suzanne Wilson, Ruth DeFries, Lindsay Garnham, Stephanie, nope, that's Steven Smith, the Junk Food God, Anthony Mays, Casey Lloyd, Darius Statham, Jin Kay, Amy Jean Jones, Katrina Shields, Roberto Montalvo Palermo, Mariah Whitman. I'm never going to get him.
As you just ran out of gas and needed a refuel, you're like, it's just beating my soul too much.
It's exhausting.
It's hurt my soul too much. I need to stop.
Ashley Eddy, Tanya Richards, Luke Walker, Vince Alvino, Lexi Heber, Christopher Ensley, Tim Eder, Brad Loxley, Tiffany Becker, Frank Arellano, Mark Barnett, Ben Zahn, Crystal Rose, Belle Buttons, that Scrappy, I think, Lynette Donahue, Tori Madu, Tried Freehold, what? Triet, Shauna Williams, Adam Apple, that's Tried, right? It's got to be Tried.
I take it, sure.
All right, Corey Citrus, Matt Jenner, Chicker Siskies, what?
He clenched his teeth and just started making noises.
Mallory Aguirre, Michelle Wilson, Eileen Francis, Maxine Pierce, Emily Chack, Chris Hamilton, Renee Raybon, The Cheshire, Stephanie Ernst, Finn Hansen, Kaylee Stafford, Hash Daddy, boy oh boy, Trevor Shand, Nicole Lockwood, Ali Alpress, Kenzie L. Savannah with no last name, Mary Randazzo, Chase Hunsaker, James Sinnett, Eric Krizan, Paul Barani, Matt with no last name, Josh Williams, Taylor Clark, Chris Thompson, Maria Palcon, Ellen Aim, Meredith Bryden, Adam Garrity, I think so, Michelle Arvin, Amy Bosley, Mary Zaha, Sharon Doran, Sarah with no last name, David Goodall, Jessica Gaines, Trish Cook, David Brook, that's what it is. Dave Brook, I said that. Joe Fleming, Marshall Barber, Matthew Cannon, Sarah Sharp, Kate Lee, Daniela Mikanovsky, Olympia Stanton, Emma Norman, Jen Nicholson, Courtney Edwards, Alaska's Top Shelf Entertainment, James, Alyssa Connor, Sammy Stan, Madison K, Corey Parks, Lucio Maffei, Anthony with no last name, Jessica Harwood, Derek Fleener, Jan Vodrin, Jamie Sigler, Connie Cuney, I think, Eric Pelk, Tyson Curvello, and all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, so much.
You're amazing.
Honestly, you are incredible, and we cannot thank you enough for everything that you do for us. And hope to see you you see us at the virtual live show later on. It's going to be a party, everybody, and everybody has asked. Yes, most devices, you can, if you have a newer phone and a TV made in the last 10 years, you can usually throw it to your TV.
Yeah,
everybody's been asking that.
This is
it's
amazing. It's crazy
it's
stuff that you can do. You can put us on TV even though Netflix won't.
Yes, even though none of these other people want us at all for TV things. They're like, well, we like the name of your show. Yeah. Not really you guys with your
this
ill
idea
humor.
Is great. Can we use somebody else in some other way?
Can we use sort of just your name, but a different show with more attractive people is what we're looking for, really.
Maybe Jack Shepard and his wife will do this.
Maybe Kristen Bell will sign up for this shit. So that's Jimmie. Well, you know what? We just said this. If you want to find us, follow us on social media. Look up the show, Small Town Murder, and go to shutupandgivememurder.com where all of our info's on there. Find us on there. And keep coming back week after week after week, because until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.